This week's episode is brought to you by the legends over at Dog and Gun Coffee, and you guys can grab $10 off of your very next order when you use the code BOWHUNTER, all in caps locks. That will get you $10 off of your very next order from Dog and Gun Coffee. This week's episode is also brought to you by the crew over at Coyoga Broadheads, and you guys can get 10% off your next order through Coyoga Broadheads website when you use the code BAB10. That's caps locks BAB10, and that will get you 10% off your next order at coyogabroadheads.com.au.
Hey there, and welcome to Becoming a Bowhunter. I'm your host, Matty, and join me and our guests as we take the quality of meat back into our own hands, searching the wild for free-ranged animals to harvest as ethically as we can. I interview a variety of specialists from the bow hunting community to help fast-track your journey as a bow hunter. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this chinwag on one of your favorite topics in the world, bow hunting.
Legend, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Bow Hunter. You're in for a little bit of a treat today. We have three of my very good mates, Grant Randy Rand, Mr. Benny Fensom, and Corey Seymondsbergen, all joining us today from inside deer camp on a recent hunt that we were on. The beers were flowing, the laughs were high, the energy was high, and I have to apologize in advance because you will have to wear earmuffs if you are a kid during this episode, because I'm pretty sure there are some swear words that get thrown about throughout the podcast. But realistically, we had already had a few days of hunting. We were high on life. We were just having a great time, and we also just got some great content down, I believe, at least. And so I honestly think that a lot of people are going to get a lot of stuff out of this podcast. We talk a lot about hunting overseas. We talk a lot about hunting within Australia. We talk about the boys taking pigs. I'm not going to take too much about this. The boys getting wild pigs and breeding them up. We've got a lot of different adventures to kind of share with you, talking about different gear as well. And realistically, there's a lot within this that's going to be really useful for a lot of people. So I'm going to let you guys sit back, relax, and listen along and enjoy the journey.
Voice only. It'd be too wild.
We don't want a video. No videos in deer camp. Do you seen the sign, haven't you?
It says, what happens in deer camp stays at deer camp.
That's right.
But we've had a lot of fun. We've had 2 days. It's been pretty wild already. To be honest, it feels like we've been going for 5 days. I'm so wrecked.
Ready, yeah.
Already, right? We got in Tuesday. We had the podcast, which was the last podcast you guys heard. And then Corey, you came back with bloody hands and you just had a wild time. You're like, this torch is incredible. Let's start there. What torch did you go and get? What was the setup you got? And why did you get it?
I don't know the brand, but
Vision.
Yep, that's right. Vision. I'm a local man.
Supporter.
Yep, that's right. I like buying things when I go and hold it in my hand, feel it in my hand, look at it. I don't like buying shit online.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't.
Good.
Yeah,
I think it's a great way to be.
So my local mudgy, the local.
They felt it in their
The
hand.
gun shop. Yeah, they felt it. Don't worry. The little Dutch sausage. The gun shop, local mudgy shop. I went in there and had a chat with the fellas in there, and told them what I was after, and they had the lights for me. Gave me a good deal.
Yep. So expand on it though. Why did you get the light? So your light in general, you've got one for your head, one for your bow.
That's right. Head torch and a bow torch, which is a rifle torch, which we've modified to the back of the quiverizer. And the reason I got the quiverizer torch is so we don't throw a shadow when the head torch is aiming at through the bow.
Yep.
But also helps you
You can
light
actually
up
see
the
that
critter.
as well.
But the only reason we did it is because Benny Solaris in our Bulgaria hunt suggested that we need to get good at a green light hunt.
So shooting under the green light, because a lot the boars that you guys are going to be hunting over there, they're
Nighttime
purely they're purely nocturnal.
Well, it's not purely nocturnal, but the The advice was get used to shooting.
Have a go at green light.
At least get used to being able to do it with a green light because they might turn up 5 minutes after last light.
Got you. So it's just be ready just in case.
Well, those bigger style trophy like boars, they might come in just on that last light. Like, I mean, when you're in the other side of the world, you do
want to make it happen.
Well, you're there, you do their customs, you treat it their way. He said they use a green light, and that's what they do. So we're just going to roll with it. We're not going to try and reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, cool. No, and it worked out pretty well because, I mean, you came back, like I said, you had bloody hands, you had a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And we got all excited and we all ran straight out into the field with you. And
we got onto pigs.
We did. You were our knight in non-armour, just chasing through the hills.
Us training wheel hunters, without that fancy light these fucking recurve hunters use, we didn't need no nighttime stalking devices.
he's
Shit's there at Benny, of course.
I'm going to dig at Benny Fensom because he's brought his your thermal, the monocle. What is it called? Monocular?
Monocular.
Yeah, monocular, yeah.
You're not turned on, Benny. You need to flick your little switch there.
Oh, great podcast host, this bloke.
That's just
Yes, sorry, not
Keep
host.
me out of it.
No, we wouldn't want to keep you out of it. You dribble the best shit.
Yeah, no, it's monocular, yeah.
Monocular. So where did you get that from? What's the deal?
It's a Hick Micro OQ.
I'm sure there's thousands of them.
35, yeah.
Right?
It's just one of the models, a Hick Micro. A friend of mine has one and obviously uses it roo shooting and stuff like that. And
As a professional shooter?
As a professional shooter. And I just got on the marketplace. I was just going to buy a cheap one for when we're mucking around having fun. And anyway, of course, the expensive one come up for the all but the same price as the cheap one.
No, how good.
So I was
on Facebook or something?
Yeah, on the marketplace, yeah.
Right.
So it was like, well, that's a sign. So I just, as much as the wife probably...
Didn't like it?
Oh, I don't know. Won't go into that
Sometimes
too much.
what she doesn't know doesn't
anyway,
hurt her.
we ended up with the better one out of them, and it works really well, for the fun we have with it. It's money well spent, I reckon.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys have been getting out a fair bit with it, and we're even saying tonight because we had a fair run around today in regards to where we parked cars and where we had to get to, and we had a fair drive. We parked in two different locations, hunted two different locations, met up back at Benny's car, and had to drive back. And we were saying how much better it is for essentially like the flatlands, big fields, right? Big paddocks compared to what we're kind of in here, which is very hilly, very bushy, very thick, dense country.
Yeah.
Rolling country.
Hill country.
That's the big difference with it. Like out at the like Western Plains where I spend a lot of my time hunting
Hold your mic up.
pigs and stuff like that. It's you can walk all day across flat paddocks and not see anything because you spend so much time trying to find
Just anything.
there might be something out there, and it's it might be a 5,000 acre paddock that you spend walking around as roly poly, whatever. You spend all day there, you won't see anything. But then you go out there at night time, last light, early morning, same thing. Mm-hmm. Throw the thermal over it. It's straight away you can use it at your advantage. Like you're saving time because you're like there is nothing there within 2.5 k's. There is nothing.
You're not going to bother walking.
Yeah, that's right. You're not going to walk out there because there's nothing there. Whereas
savior.
all of a sudden, it might be an hour before first light. You throw the thermal out there, and you see the you see the might see pigs, a k out, straight away. All right, sweet, they're out there. We'll get the wind right, and we'll start hunting.
Go.
So essentially it's. Just basically just another part of technology helping you to
it's pretty crazy, right? It's,
to track them down, I suppose.
The next level of it, mate. We've had a pretty fun little run, and you only came into camp last night. Was it last night? Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it does. It was a long night.
A long trip.
It was a cold night.
Days are long when you're hunting the hills.
They are, but at the same time, it's very interesting. The place feels familiar to me because obviously we were here around the same time last year, and I'm surprised how much, it's all very exactly the same, obviously, but you start to obviously pick up on everything. You start to pick up the names, you start to pick up on all the places in general.
Hunting spots,
the know-how a little bit. But
he knows too much. We're going to have to knock him on the
yeah,
head.
that's it. Not coming back.
Yeah, never welcome back again. But at the same time, it just shows the importance of also knowing a block because we'll walk into so many spaces, and I've walked with Grant and Corey on different pretty much you guys have been our guides this weekend, haven't you? In a sense, like taking
Unofficial
us around.
guides,
Unofficial guides.
Yeah, we're hunting as well.
Don't hit us up for a guide hunt.
No,
The
no,
answer
no,
would be no.
no, exactly. But the whole situation essentially is you both walking through certain areas, and you're like, oh, there's usually deer right here, or there's usually pigs here, or this is a great place for boars. And pretty much most of the time when you're saying that, there's then the animals right there, like. There's kangaroos everywhere. There's cows.
Time in the hills is a beautiful thing,
It
buddy.
really is. It just shows knowing your block, and
Yep.
like I've got that knowledge of my block right now, and I used to hear it all the time. Like, put the hours in, you'll get the smiles.
Yep.
Like, do the miles, get the smiles.
That's
one
exactly
big
right.
part, right? But then also just understand your block, know every little nook and cranny if you can.
Yep.
It's also a hard thing to do.
Well, you got to explore, don't you?
You just need to explore and explore. But the hard thing is when you find the good stuff, you don't necessarily want to get away from it. And even now, like, how much of the block do you reckon you don't see that often?
Well, we spoke about that. Was it
last
last
night,
night? We
maybe?
did that hunt up there and like found a new little sort of bowly benchy bit there and went, this would be pretty wild in the rut. And then 2 minutes later, rub tree,
Yeah.
scrape, like it just, and that's something 9 years of doing hunting here and hunting this place, and yeah, just found something new.
Yeah.
Same with me, 7 years of hunting in the hills, and sometimes I walk over a little crest and I go, what the fuck's that thing there? I've never seen that before. Start walking in there, go, geez, this is a good spot to hunt.
Yeah, and I think some places just look like good country. Right? You're like, this is deer country, this is fox country, this is where the
That's
pigs are
right.
going to be.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so nice. But one of the cool events that happened this weekend. Do you want to say something to that?
What's that? Well, what's that for? Sorry.
Oh, for the talking about the country, how it looks the part sometimes. No,
Well, it looks apart and then you don't see nothing.
no, it looks the part, and then you see them. They're right there. It's like you just start to understand the environments that the critters like.
Yeah, that's true.
This afternoon, like with game trails, fur on the fences, like all the sign was there. Like if you had said there wasn't something there,
Bullshit
I would've called
advice.
you a bullshit liar. And some bastards
The kangaroos,
stitched me up.
aren't they?
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's heaps of deer out there. There's heaps of pigs out there. We seen heaps this morning. We out this afternoon, all we see is 562 fucking kangaroos.
Last time I checked, mate, you're the one with what do you call them things?
But you
I
know what?
had
We
me
didn't have a
goggles in.
thermal. We didn't have our thermal, so couldn't see him.
We're not handicapped.
Yeah. Got a bit of flick off that, I suppose.
You probably always will, unfortunately, with these guys.
well.
You give them a fair bit about using wheels, though.
Yeah, well, I was.
I was.
Once.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the training wheels, mate. Everyone has to learn how to ride.
No, I love the training wheels. I just love me wood better.
Definitely. But we went on a pretty cool experience yesterday. All about the wood, aren't you? That's what she said. We went on a little experience on day one, on Wednesday. And it was one of the first stalks we did. And we found these fallow, and we're just kind of waiting to make our way up. And you're like, oh, this is actually a really good spot for pigs usually. And we start walking, and we pretty much all but stood on them. We were like 2 meters from them. They were literally buried themselves at the base of a tree. Not even trees, like little shrub bushes. And they buried themselves under the grass. Like, they'd done a good job. And these pigs, they absolutely shit themselves because they're sleeping. And one hopped up, and I think it bumped the other one as it tried to hop up and end up on its
one
back.
rolled on its back and it's just sat there trying to run on its
On
back.
its
The
back.
legs were going full tilt boogie and it realised it wasn't going anywhere. It
It was rolling all over the place trying to get up as well, side
was
to side. It's like a
hilarious,
turtle on its back.
if you had a video,
You can't see Grant's hand actions at the moment. It's fucking hilarious when he tells a story and his legs and hands are going wild.
There's a little bit of that ethnicity in me. I talk with my hands sometimes. If the microphone starts waving around, you know why.
If it gets quiet. But then the other one just, once it stood up, because the other one just panicked so much, once it finally rolled over, it took off, and the other one just stood there. It's like the shrub was going to save it, but unfortunately I had an arrow knocked already and was lucky enough. The shrub was pretty much right on its vitals, and I knew I could kind of slip an arrow in behind that, and I took the shot, and it knocked the vein off. The clean knocked my vein off, but also got the clean pass through on the pig, and he ran 50 meters into the shrub, kind of did a few twirls, and we actually didn't see where he went at first because we saw him. He tumbled once, and then he ran the other direction. It was kind of over the little dead ground, and then he dropped in front of us, pretty much, or in front of us, but not in front of us.
Well, we went down to find him, walked straight past him, pretty much. Like we would have been 5 yards off him when we walked down looking for him, and then walked back up, and lo and behold, he was right there.
You guys changed microphones and you ruined my My noise. No, it's fine. It's on still.
Grant changed microphones.
That's what happened.
Corey got up to get more beers. So
Yeah,
it's his
more
fault.
beers. That's my fault. True.
I'm blaming Great Northern and Bundy
And
Rum
they're
for this
hot
one.
beers too.
Give us a sponsor.
Hot beers.
Warm beers,
Where'd
mate.
you get
I'm a
that?
pommy.
European beers.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a warm beer.
No, but they're not as good as cold beer.
Yeah, I heard that.
As part of it, we we got to, as an experience, right? We've all got bushbuck on right now, and we've been wearing the stuff in general. And to be honest, I was very thankful for it this morning. We were -5 this morning in camp, and the layering system was
Beautiful.
an absolute treat.
Yep.
It was so warm and so toasty to the extent that we got up a few hills and we started
Too
layering.
warm.
Yeah, too warm.
Yeah.
To some extent, once you're up in the hills.
No,
But at the
really
same
rate
time-
the New Zealand bushbuck camo gear. It's a great kit to have on in the cold weather.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Although none of us like the bino harness. The way the bino harness sits, it's literally because I think everything that we use, we pull our bino harness down.
Fuck,
versus-
Matty, you're the
Mate,
best.
I'm straight to it.
This is a podcast. You
Exactly.
know
I'm
bullshit.
gonna
Tell you
give
straight
my
up and
honest
down.
Opinion. I've always been honest from the start. I
Yeah.
don't care
Well,
what-
you know
I
they
always
say
will be.
opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got
Exactly.
one, and not everyone likes the smell of them.
Whether,
Oh, I do.
whether you want to, with all the ones that we hold, that we use, all of our...
Well, they're all forward fold.
Exactly, forward fold. So you pull it down, you usually have magnets on it so you can tuck it in so that the lips aren't in the way, the flip of it. And essentially the lid of this one, it folds back towards you.
Well, it's a double fold. It's
It
like
is.
a
It
two-stage fold.
Yeah.
But I can understand why they did it, because if you've hunted New
Zealand
Zealand
with
through
the
that
weather.
monkey scrub and stuff like that, you want something that's really well enclosed because
And
the
it's a
weather
tight
goes-
Plus,
harness.
if it rains like crazy or whatever there, but the way it
Well, it's
sits
got an
on you
inbuilt
is
rain
awesome.
harness on it too. It's got like a little inbuilt rain
Yeah.
cover at the bottom.
Yes,
It's
there's
zipper
There's perks
pulls
to it.
over.
There are
Yeah.
perks to it.
I think there's a lot to it, but all of us have had trouble getting our binos in
That's
and
it.
out.
Our binos
That's
are too
why we
big.
don't like it, right?
The,
That's
the
the only issue
system
we've
could
had.
be improved,
Yeah.
but as a
I tell you what,
Our-
we'll
our issue
change
is
from the
muscle
bino harness
memory.
to their pants. Their pants are fucking beautiful.
Oh, that's honestly the only feedback I've got. Like everything else, I fucking love. It's
Yeah.
been great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regarding the camo, regarding the layering, regarding everything there.
that fleece type top, if that was the same outer shell as the pants, that'd be an 11 out of 10. for the top.
100%. Yep.
Just the sticky beak and the thistles and stuff like that get caught up in it, but
To the-
super comfortable, super functional. Like it
All
just
quiet.
ticks all the boxes apart from that. Just picks the burrs up.
Definitely. If I was to take this stuff to Queensland and wear that, like as a light jumper, essentially, I'd be covered in speargrass. It would pick up every little bit of it. Yeah. It'd be the undoing. Snake gaiters we haven't even put on, to be honest. We didn't really need them here.
Yeah, it's pretty cold right now.
Pretty cold.
Yeah.
Not many snakes around.
The snakes and the sticks look the same at the minute.
There'll be
both
a
as
snake under your
stiff.
foot
Both
if you're not looking the right way. There'll be a snake under your foot.
Bloody not worried about the snake under my foot.
Worried about
Dutch
yours.
worm.
Worried about the roaring horns.
Bloody roaring horns.
You guys, I don't even know which way to take this. Like I said, I'm freaking tired. Corey, my man, you wanted to talk a little bit about Bulgaria and what you got coming on, and I think it's kind of cool because we've already started there with the torches.
Yep.
But in general, and this is a very true point, we were just talking about in the car drive, and you were saying around the costs of
Yep.
an overseas trip, and a lot of people gawk at it straight away, right? See
Yeah, they
the
get
price
scared
and
off.
They're like, nope,
Yep.
no way.
Yep.
I couldn't afford that, or, oh, that's just too much to invest in,
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
And you were just talking about, like, once your eyes are set on the prize, how
Yep.
actually easy and not affordable. And
Well, if you plan it
affordable,
right.
but if you plan it right,
Yeah.
how you can pay it off.
Yeah,
you can
so
make it
if
work
it's a
really well.
year-long investment, right?
Uh-huh.
So you got your deposits that you pay for your trophies, and then your deposits that you pay to hold that time that you're booking it in for,
Yep.
which is 30% of each of them.
Mm-hmm.
You do that at, say, first month of booking it or within 3 months of booking it.
Yep.
Then you get closer to the date, book your flights. So you've got time to save for all these little payments that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's a $10,000 investment, or the hunt's going to cost you $10,000, and you've got a year to pay for it. And you're a battler on an Aussie wage that's not too good, or average wage. You can save little bits out of that every week, and actually afford those chunks that you need to pay by the dates that you pay it.
Yeah.
And then you've only got a small amount when it comes time to hunt. So like Randy and I right now, our actual payment that we've only got is only say, out of a $10,000 hunt with flights and whatever it's going to cost us, we've only got a couple of grand left.
Yeah, we've paid, I'd say 30 to 35% of the total, like your airfares and stuff like that are
Separate, yeah.
a chunk and stuff like that. But on the flip side too, it's a once in a lifetime adventure. Like some people can afford to do it every year, and kudos to them guys. Like good on ya. But yeah, for the average Joe Blow, that's an Aussie battler. Yeah, once in a lifetime hunt. But these memories will stick with you forever.
Right,
like
definitely.
it's epic. It's the epitome of the fallow hunting in the world, the leks and stuff like that, the way it goes about. And bog area and fallow might not be your thing. You might want to chase an elk on the other side of the world. You might want to chase tar and chamois in New Zealand.
Muskox.
Yep,
Well,
bloody oath.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their thing that they want to do, but I definitely think it's worthwhile if you want to have that dream or whatever it is. Put a little bit away. Put $50 a week or $25 a week away,
And the way I see it, right, we're getting older. So we're getting older. We're bow hunt. Well, I say we bow hunt less, but we're madmen. We get in the hills a bit. But
getting older. I'm feeling older.
yeah, I've seen you struggling up the
33
hill
going
this
on
Savo.
62.
Fat prick. Fat blokes are allowed to tease fat blokes.
Yeah, that's right.
But the way I see it, right, you're getting older. So why not save your money up and
I mean, you work hard, you do your thing, right?
yeah, that's right. We're all battling. We're all having a crack at earning $1. Why not spend the dosh on going to do a hunt that you can talk about and teach your kids about? And yes, we can do these things in Australia, but it's the whole travel part of it.
Exactly. I mean, I am intrigued by it because essentially you guys are going over, and Struan made a little joke about it the other day about you guys going over to hunt exactly what you hunt here every month, and same, but very different, right?
Yeah.
Different.
Well, it's where they're from.
It's where it may not be the very initial, but we're hunting them in their homeland on their turf. Everything around them is built for them in that place. The minerals in the ground,
It's
the
like
genetics.
the best genetics they're going to be in the world, essentially.
It's just prime location, and the boars are a different kettle of fish. The boars over
completely
there,
different, right?
And we don't get those the sheep species here, and
Yep.
you've got the bonus or the opportunity there for wolf and roe deer.
Yeah, well.
Which is something we don't have here, which is a really intriguing
All
thing.
the sheep over there, eh? So
Yeah.
We've actually talked about this just in our chat in general, Randy, about the pig species here in Australia, and there is varying species all over the country in general. What are the species essentially that we have here? It's kind of a mix of 6 or so, isn't there? 6 to 8.
I'm no scientific, technical. I couldn't give you the scientific name and the extrata, blah 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 for it.
they're all furries.
That's a whole nother subject
That
that
is
we're not going to delve into.
Jesus, Corey.
Sorry.
But up in Cape York, you get the Captain Cook type boars. They got that real long snout and really long body. Like here in the mountains where we're hunting, we sort of get two
Have they got an eye patch?
species. What's that? Sorry.
The Captain Cook type boys, they got not.
Such a dad
Wooden
joke.
leg, and they're coming in on a
Working on
pirate
me
ship.
dad jokes.
Oh, these blokes. Sack them, get them offline. But here we get sort of two species. I'd say just your generic wild boar, crossbreed mixed between 25
Razorback.
different species, and then you get this really short stout. They got a snumpy snout, as deep through the chest as they are wide. They're short. They're not very long. Little short, stocky legs, and that's like that true mountain
Skinny
boar
arse.
type. Yeah, like big, massive chest, real sunk down in the arse end, and they're built for going up and down the hills and stuff like that. And then when you get out on that crop country or the flat, rolly stuff, you end up finding more stretched out and just crossbreedy pigs. You get I don't know how many subspecies there are. There's domestic
lots,
mixed
right?
as well through. You've got some that have got big floppy ears. There's that thing Rob sent through the other week that we were looking at there, that
hybrid of a
Yeah,
domestic
like-
pig gone
It's
wild, we
It
thought,
looked
right?
like a saddleback pig, like body shape, body wise, but then it had the coloration of a full black and white wild pig. But that big saddle, the big floppy ears, the little sort of the curly tail, the whole.
The curly tail, what does that represent? Like, that's only in domestic pigs, isn't it, usually? Not sure.
being an expert, but I've never shot a mountain boar with a curly tail.
No,
They've either
yeah,
got
exactly.
big, long, swishy bushy
Bushies,
tails, but I've never seen a true
curly.
wild one with a curly tail.
A collared one beforehand or something like that, or a domestic of some
Oh,
sort.
look, it could have been you had a sow, someone had a sow, they were fattening up for a Christmas roast or something like that, and a wild boar's got in and put sows over it, put piglets over it, and then next thing you got them out running around in the wild. And
Got that mixture.
well, it goes through the lines, and that genetic feature might be something that's present. There could be somewhere out there that there's a whole heap of proper wild boars with little curly tails.
It's funny you say that though. Like out on the plains, they like so many young pigs. They might be 80 kilo, but they're young. They'll have the short curly tail. Like so many of them. Like you look at their tail, short curly tail. You can nearly bet your bottom dollar on them being young.
Huh.
And
so is it a breed thing? But you reckon? Is it a breed out in different countries?
Adolescence thing.
You know, all that marsh country. You know, all that country through there. There's
Mother
been
Nature
feral pigs
keeping
out
the
there
tiles
for, moons. It's like, but you'll then all of a sudden see big boar, long bushy tail, and you can bet your bottom dollar
An older one with
that
some
he's
books or
got,
something.
he's mature. He's got everything you're looking for.
Yeah.
You see that long tail, he's what you're looking for. You see the short curly tail, which I see it all the time out there. They're young pigs, so I don't know what the difference is, but they won't get any more feral than them pigs out there. Like, yes, there's domestic breeds that get mixed in with them, but it's just funny how the difference is come over into the hills, and your opinion on that. And I go out and I look at them and go, yeah, well, it's only a young pig, and sure enough, you might shoot a 100-kilo pig, but he'll have milk teeth. Like he's probably 2-year-old. Like
Yeah, it's interesting. My cousin lives in Springshaw, and he sent me a picture of the pigs he's been shooting up there, and they're just the longest snout. Like they almost look funny when you've been looking at the mountain boars down here compared to they're just. It's like a completely different breed in its facial structure and its whole body structure, its head structure. Like down here, they're really boxy. Up there, it's like a string bean. It's like taking a tall, lanky person, putting next.
Doesn't
to
look right, does it?
It's just so odd compared to what I've seen so much of. It's interesting.
But then, like Ben said there, you go out like west a bit there, and the boars, or just the pigs in general, they get like they're a bit more rangy because they're doing more kilometres on that flat country. They might be doing 10 Ks between their feeding, bedding, and watering areas.
Yep.
Whereas the pigs here, like 10 Ks, that's 3 ridges across. Like that's almost a different
3
postcode.
different home ranges. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they adapt
It's like the
to their
marathon runner
situation.
compared to the short sprinters.
Well, they're established as a feral on every continent, I believe, except Antarctica. So
Because there's none there, or
I just think it's too cold and probably no one's taking them. I reckon if you take a boatload over there, the bastards
they'd probably
establish.
survive somehow.
Yeah, next minute they'd start eating penguins and
they're going to come looking for you next.
yeah, it'd be. Don't worry about saving the whales. It'd be save the penguins. You big old hooky boars with an emperor penguin hanging at his jaw.
Corey, you've done something I've heard a few people doing, and everyone I've heard doing it absolutely freaking loves it, and that's catching a piglet and growing it at home, turning it into a domestic pig.
Yeah.
Tell us about that process. What did you do?
Well, Randy caught the piglets, right?
What you let him out here by himself one time, or you're here with him?
No, so let's say he was walking up the hills and just found some piglets napping under a tree, and he napped them up and said, I just bought my farm, right? So we'll go back.
Yeah.
And I said to Grant, if you get a little billy goat or a little nanny goat or a little piglet,
Come across some young
something young that I can breed my own and give it a cuddle and a kiss and
Bring it home
make,
to the kids. The kids love
exactly.
you, little
3
pet.
kids at home, give it a cuddle and a kiss and make it a pet.
Yeah.
Young enough to sort of call it our own and become a farm animal. Anyway, literally 2 days after I say it to Grant, he goes, Corey, got you 2 piglets.
He's a worker, mate. He
They're in
knows
an
how to do
IBC.
things.
I've cut the roof off. I've given them some porridge. Come up here and get them.
Did you give him porridge?
Not here to fuck spiders.
Yeah. So we got these 2 little piglets. Anyway, it happened to be a brother and sister, so they're a little bit special, but beautiful tasting. But brother and sister in the paddock. I don't know how long we had them for, 4 or 5 months, and everyone told me to knock the nuts out of him, and I said, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
And brother and sister ended up giving us some little piglets. So now we got 7 piglets.
Hold up, 4 months, and they gave you piglets?
No, we'll call it let's call it
Probably
5
knocked
months.
up at 4 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 months.
Probably knocked up at 4 months, and then
If we went back to photos, we'd be able to find it. And 2 weeks after the Easter weekend, we had piglets.
Wow.
So I knocked the boar on the head for the Easter weekend. We put him on the spit, but he'd not obviously give his sister a towel up before that.
So 4 to 6 months, you said?
Yep.
What sort of size have you seen changing? Like, obviously, they come to you
Well,
as
they went from
piglets.
a
They're
piglet to
small little
about-
5 kilo piglets,
Oh,
right?
little piglets, mate. So we're talking like Tasmanian pig, exactly, Benny. We went from like, let's call it a 700 gram piglet,
Yeah.
so just off mummy's titty.
Completely small, yeah.
So to 65 kilos when I shot him and hung him,
Yeah.
and then when I dressed him, he's about 40 kilos.
Yeah, wow. So 6 months and he's chunked on that much. That's crazy.
Yep.
6 months.
6 months.
Six
that's what I
months.
thought.
And
So,
so-
so he was a grain-fed, veggies, Tim Tams, chocolate, bread. Like I'm telling you, the pig got everything.
they grow fast.
They do
Like,
grow
They do,
fast.
yeah.
But it
Yeah,
also
it's extreme.
gives you an insight into how
Perspective.
quick they can like
Breed.
repopulate
Uh-huh.
and
Yep.
breed, and
And who they'll breed with,
like so
right?
we caught them early September.
Yeah, so
and
Randy's got a photo up now.
They were spitting out little ones just after Easter.
Yep.
Yeah, so
So
just over 6 months.
In
7
6 month
months.
period, she was knocked up and then spat 7 out.
We got 7 piglets. Yeah.
So you've gone from
And
2
so that was
pigs
April.
to 9 pigs.
Yep.
And so you've now kept them all?
We got all of them. Yeah. So we our whole farm in Mudgee now is to try and be sustainable and eat our own meat.
Incredible.
So we've got a few baby lambs and a couple of little baby piglets, and we got 20 chickens.
I
So
heard you trying to do a deal so you could get a cow too.
Well, we barter. Yeah,
barter.
here today,
Bartering
you heard
system.
it. Yeah, exactly. I'm constantly got a finger in a pie, even if they don't want it in there.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
He's trying to get something to everything. You got sheep? Whoa!
I'm just looking after the.
You got
I'm
cows,
just
I
looking
can
after
swap ya.
the rejects.
But with the pig side of things, like I think a lot of people might turn their nose up at that, but you reckon some of the best pork you've eaten? Or
Mate,
what?
delicious.
Yeah.
So, with all the food we gave it, obviously grain fed because we couldn't give it enough scraps. We were
Yeah.
not going to buy food to feed apart from the grain and things that we're buying for the other animals anyway.
Yep.
So the pig ate our scraps plus grain and a bit of pig feed when the paddocks got low, which the paddocks did get low fast this year. But, mate, it was delicious. We put on the spit at Easter with all my family there, the whole Dutch side, and we had the pig on a spit, and it was some of the best crackling we ever had, and the actual meat was delicious. Like,
So it was a black pig? Or
so it was a black and white pig.
Yep.
Yeah,
And so,
so-
you had to scorch the fur off and all
Exactly.
that stuff?
Yeah.
How's
So-
that? You put them in the bath or something, don't you?
So I got a galvanized bathtub.
Yep.
I actually fucked up a little bit because I did it as a kid a long time ago.
Yeah.
And what we did is we tipped boiling water into our tub, right? But we were doing a lot smaller pigs. So we were doing pigs on a spit for our neighbours that they wanted a 35 kilo pig or a 40 kilo pig.
Yep.
But also this is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I did it as a kid, and then you become an adult and you've done it before, so you think you know
Remember.
everything.
Yep.
So
Yeah, exactly.
we gutted the pig. We did all the normal stuff, and then we put it in the bathtub, and I tipped the boiling water on it, and the ass was beautiful, boiled straight off, skin, everything becomes a pink pig.
Yep.
After you get the white and black off it, you scald a little layer off, peel the hair off with your gumboots.
But the temperature, doesn't it have to be like between 62 and 65 to make it work?
I don't know the temperature.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that is like the prime position.
I think
for
it's 60. Sorry, 70.
That's to
72.
scald the pig. To
70,
to scald the pig, yeah.
Scald the pig 72 to 76
And then
degrees.
essentially, if
I
you
think.
do it right,
so
you should
basically,
just be
the
able to
hock.
scratch.
So your hock should pull off like the toenail of the pig.
Yeah.
When they pull off,
Yep.
you're good to go. That's like, and the fur will just literally hair will
Yep.
just literally you can just wipe it off.
Well,
pretty well.
by doing that, you're initiating the hair slip for all the hair follicles to fall out of it because you still want the skin on and the
So you
outer,
get the
so
crackling.
you get the crackling.
Yep.
If you just skin
did
it, you
do
don't
that.
get crackling.
I did do that, right? But I only got the arse of it. And then because we didn't, so we got a Gow bathtub now, but so a fire under a bathtub with water in it's to go to, and you get the temperature right, put the
Gotcha.
whole thing in it, scald it, get the skin off. We didn't do that. From my old brain, without looking at YouTube, which you should do
Yeah.
before you do something like this or
Definitely.
talk to Benny, I just went from what I knew and I got half the pig right. The arse end was right. the top half, I went to YouTube and I seen a fucking Yankee fella shaving it with a hair razor. So I had a crack at that. It's bullshit. You don't do that.
You end up with hairy crackling.
Yeah, so I had half a pig, a 65-kilo pig with hairy shoulders on the front, beautiful arse end, bald and ready
You
to
give
crack.
that to the mother-in-law,
Yeah,
didn't
everyone.
you?
I was going to say, that's the in-law. The front half's the in-law side.
The back part of the back part of the crackling, mate, it was beautiful. And then the second half, when everyone was sort of a little bit drunk, I start feeding it to them with a bit of hair in it, going, "This is beautiful. Here, try it."
That sounds like another story.
it's just
just a deer and a
Inbuilt floss.
27-year-old ram.
Good story of little pigs. When my wife and I were living at Warren, and she was heavily pregnant with my daughter Amelia, and anyway, I was out picking up cotton bales and these little tiny piglets. They wouldn't have been any bigger than a beer can.
Yep.
Day old, 2 days old max. And anyway, I've jumped out and I've grabbed this little black sow, little pure white boar. Looked fully domestic.
Yep.
Anyway, so I've taken them home and I was in trouble. I was in a lot of trouble. Anyway,
To have them here.
so I've taken them inside and I'm feeding them slops like Wheat Bix and, milk, just, boil the jug and, mix it all up for them, and had them for a week. So I got half attached to these little tiny pigs and they're eating these slops. Well, then my wife's waters broke and we had to go to Dubbo, which was 100 k's away to, go and have Amelia. And anyway, so I'd become this attached to these little pigs. I couldn't knock them on the head, so I just threw them out the back on the front lawn. I thought nature will take its course. Fox will get them, bird will get them, but I can't bring myself to knock these things on the head. Well, we were over in Dubbo for a week and a half. Time, had Amelia and got settled, and then time to come home. And we get home, and well, then I was in a world of trouble because these two little pigs are still at the front porch of the house running around. And anyway, Barry and Sally, Barry the boar and Sally the sow, we named them. And anyway, Sally was brilliant. She was just a black feral sow, and the boar Barry, he was pure white. You would have thought he was domestic. And anyway, he had an attitude. Nikita would get home from doing the shopping, and he'd up her trying to get the groceries out of the grocery bag, like this little pig,
How big are you talking at this time?
Well, he was only
20 kilos?
not even.
Yep.
So that started at 15 kilos, but it went through till my daughter's christening. Was she 6 months old when we got her christened, and he dressed out at 36 kilos. So he signed his death certificate because he was a little prick. But we nutted him, and about 2 months or 3 months later, we nutted him about halfway through the stage.
Yep.
And then we knocked him on the head and done him for Amelia's christening, same thing on the spit, and he was absolutely beautiful. You wouldn't have got dressed out. You wouldn't have thought he'd dress at 36 kilos, but was just this little nugget of a pig. And Sally, well, she thought, I used to have pig dogs back in the day, and when I was living out there, they were all retired, sort of didn't really hunt them much, but we'd take them down the river and that. And Sally, she grew up with these dogs. So she'd sleep in the dog kennel. The dogs would be down.
Start chasing pigs.
They'd go chasing pigs, and the pig would be out with the pig dogs catching pigs. This is no bullshit. The neighbour, she thought she was a Kelpie. The neighbour would ring up. He's got the Kelpie and the pig mustering sheep. So he's like, mate, your dog's over here again. Because the pig and the dog would just go on these adventures, and he's over mustering his sheep, and he'd ring up and be like, yeah, mate, your Kelpie and your pig are here helping me muster the sheep. The dog's sitting on the back of the quad bike when I get there, and the pig's sitting beside the quad bike because it couldn't get up.
Jump. Yeah.
So Sally, she'd become part of the family. She was brilliant, She come home, we end up moving home back to Young, and she come with us. She was in the dog crate with the dogs when we moved home,
hilarious.
so the dogs are in the dog crate with the pig, this feral sow. You call her feral, but she was part of the furniture, she was brilliant. So
they're so smart, right? They clue on to...
Oh, mate, they are one of the smartest animals I taught her to roll over, I told her to sit. She'd do anything.
You teach her the same as you would a dog, with the food and roll over and
mate,
whatever?
what are them ice creams?
Cornettos.
Cornettos,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
She was a Cornetto fan.
Do anything
She would
for a
do anything
Cornetto.
for a Cornetto. Like, oh mate,
You hold the biscuit part. They eat
yeah, hold
ice
the
cream
biscuit and
first,
it's got
chunk
a
on the
chocolate
biscuit
bit in the
Yeah,
end, mate.
that's right.
That solid chocolate bit in the bottom of the cone. She just she'd
Loved
nearly
it.
swallow
Straight
the rest
sugar.
of it just to get
Our
to that.
sow started at pork chop. Her name changed to Rosita. And you know where Rosita's from, right? Because you got kids.
No.
It's from Zootopia.
Oh,
The
yeah,
dancing
yeah.
pig, you know, the
Yep.
sexy pig. Yeah, you know. Everyone's had a look at her.
Yeah,
I
But no.
don't think everyone. Just
maybe Corey, but
A couple of
but
schooners.
they
old Rosita.
certainly do make a good pet. Like they you know, yes, they some would say it's the wrong thing to do, but I mean,
I don't
yeah.
So I
They
got
live a good life, don't they?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
brilliant life. No
Yeah.
different to your
Hey.
dog, your rabbit. Like rabbits are feral, but we've still got pet rabbits.
I'll
Cats
give
are feral, we've
Rosita a
got
pack of Tim Tams on a Friday night, right? I'll have a 6-pack of beer and Rosita and I'll sit in the back paddock and she has a 6-pack of Tim Tams.
I
it'd be
reckon,
like-
I reckon
I
it's
drink the
worse
beer.
having a cat that free roams than having a
Wild
pig.
pig.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What's it hurting anyone?
Pigs aren't eating natives. Well,
No, exactly.
not your pet pigs anyway.
Well, not when they're in a fucking
They,
cage,
yeah, feral
are they?
pigs no doubt eat natives.
They're
Like
not
they
gonna make them
definitely
extinct.
they eat emu eggs and
Yeah.
you know they eat bird eggs and like they eat lots of things they shouldn't. But your pet pig in your yard, mate, he's eating your scraps and your
That's right,
You know
helping
your
you
bread. He's not hurting anything. He's rooting up your lawn and you're swearing at him because you're trying to mow and
Oh, and the
freaking-
pig shits, man. They're
Ah.
incredible.
But
Be good fertilizer, wouldn't it?
I don't know, man. They're stinky like what I've just dropped in the dunny and she's just dropped it straight in my backyard.
Sorry, fucking hell. I got to ask though, because you said you knocked the balls off it before you ran away. Don't slam your microphone down, Jesus.
Sorry,
Mic drop.
listeners.
Oh, mic drop. You knocked the balls off of it.
yep,
Did it stop him from trying to charge you guys and whatever else?
settled him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they certainly settle down. They lose their testosterone, I think. So,
No green shit for me.
Getting some dinner served up as well.
so yeah, I like takes the testosterone out of them. I think
Exactly.
so.
I've seen it happen with deer before, where like been in deer camp where they've literally had young stags. They've just knocked the balls off, and so they'll never grow their antlers or whatever, and they never get that testosterone drop, so they never have the fight in them that others
Yeah,
would.
yeah, they just worry about eating and sleeping.
Exactly, and
Like
they,
that's
eat,
all they do.
eat fucking everything. This one would get into everyone's camp. They're like, make sure you lock up your stuff, otherwise Happy will
So
eat
they
all
just-
your food.
Just
and he
bulk
wouldn't-
up.
Yeah, he'd find everyone's bread and just get into it.
So yeah, like
Before you guys put your mics down, if you're going to, just turn them off so you don't get a little
copy.
big old knock.
Nah, we won't drop it. We won't do
Bang.
We won't do a Benny and just ruin everyone's ears and wreck
Sorry, Benny.
anyone's subs.
What were you going to say about the testosterone?
His balls got chopped off a long
they're
time
fat
ago.
layers. So obviously, yeah, like so, their fat layers increase by.
What once testosterone's gone?
As once you take their knackers, their fat layer increases by like double.
Yeah, wow.
Why a lot of pig hunters knock nuts out of boars and let them go. One, they grow bigger tusks. Why I don't know
Yeah, that's
behind that, but they get fat. They just eat, and the fat layer. You catch a barren boar like a barra, he's fat. Like he is literally just rolling in fat, and I think it's simply just because I'm not sure what part contributes to them just eating and sleeping.
Yeah.
But it also just adds to their fat layer in their body.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I would have thought the testosterone would have helped the tooth growth like it does
Definitely.
the antler growth, right?
sure.
Like it doesn't quite make sense in that.
No.
No, it doesn't. I'm not sure what's behind it, but they definitely.
Because you think about it as a dominant boar, they're probably going to have the biggest, hookiest teeth, right? That would be my thought process. It's kind of like a big dominant stag or buck.
But on the flip side, he's not grinding his teeth all the time to keep them sharp. He's not
Yeah,
doing
in case
all of
they
that
want to
stuff.
fight
So
him.
they're
No
not
aggression
actually
in it.
wearing
No
down.
aggression in it.
He's not fighting other pigs. He's not snapping his teeth. Like,
Yeah, true.
and all that side that's going from him to being a male and trying to find a root
Yep.
is just put into other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Growing. He's just
feeding,
growing.
Feeding and feeding
He's
and feeding.
just bulking up, and everything's growing at the same time, sort of thing.
So,
I don't-
I'll go on.
I don't. Well, as again, not a pig expert, but I don't think the tusk growth is like proportional to
Testosterone.
their male genetic part of it, because Collie shot that massive sow the other week, and
Oh, true.
sows have next to no testosterone. Or could be a he, she, you never know. It might have done a transfer not too
2023
long
after
ago.
all.
We don't know how that pig
2023.
identifies.
Yeah. Hey, for all we
how big
know,
old tusk did she?
well, it could have identified as a goat, and they could actually be its horns.
Yeah, that's a
did
furry.
Did she have big tusk? What was the go?
Oh, it was a beast.
Bomber.
Really?
Bomber.
I don't know what the score was, but like looking at them, they'd be like 25 plus. Douglas, like it was
Wow.
2.5 inch rough. I'd say 2.5 inch out the jaw. Like,
How often do you hear of that though? Like that's the first
First time.
First time
Yeah.
I've ever seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
This is 2023.
but then in saying that too, like your horn growth on typically a billy goat.
Yep.
Aaron Whitaker shot a 40 plus inch nanny goat down in the Flinders Ranges in South Australia years ago.
Heck.
And then a couple of years ago, Ian was hunting with me and shot this. We thought it was a billy. It was about 31 inch or something like that. And ended up being a nanny goat.
And still the same style where they shoot back and go long like a nanny usually would, or did it have big old
Long
wide
and
ones?
skinny.
Mate, you looked at them, and if you didn't see the flange, you would have swore it was a male.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Like on the hoof walking, if you didn't see that set of nuts hanging out,
Yeah.
you'd have just gone, oh, it must have got its nuts caught in a fence or something. But yeah, it had all the female reproductive gear, but looked like a male.
Yeah.
So it might have been doing it before it was cool to swap genders. the real trendsetters.
Well, I
The
think-
real trendsetters.
I think Steve Colley, he shot a...
We just
catch
talked
up
all
with
about
the
it.
fucking
Yeah.
combo, Benny. Jesus.
Yeah.
Went for a
shot
piss.
sow,
Yeah,
so
Benny went for a piss.
It was funny, actually. Like, he's seen a lot of critters, that fella.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, actually, when he said that's the first one I've seen like that.
Yeah, okay.
And, like, social media and stuff like that.
Have you heard about it
My
before?
cousin's caught a sow with dogs out Ningen way.
Yeah.
And same thing, was about 80 kilos and had over 4 inches even ivory out both sides of his mouth. Like, unbelievable tusk.
There you go.
And nearly identical pig to what he was looking at. And, yeah, I've seen photos of many sows with, just people have showed me over time of, like, huge tusks.
Yeah.
And you just can't look past them.
No,
like, it's
I bet.
always in my mind when I'm
Yeah,
looking at a
definitely.
mob, because I have seen enough photos, and I've personally seen it with my cousin and everything else, that it's possible. I don't know what
It'd be worth hitting up some of like the pigging groups, right? Like your full upper brands and whatever else, like those brands that are
Yeah.
just purely into pigging, and see how often it actually happens. Because
happens more than you
I'm
know.
sure it does, yeah.
Like, definitely, because I used to follow a lot of that when I was younger,
Yeah.
and that's where I used to see it.
Yeah, wow.
And it's it definitely happens more than what you realise, and you just go, holy shit! Like, just pays when you see a sow and suckers just to look twice.
Just in case.
Yeah, it is always in the back of my mind when
Yeah.
I see sows. I don't rule it out, because it's just like, you know, it's
Chasing
certain-
ivory.
It's not chasing ivory, but it's just possible to shoot that something different. I
Yeah.
suppose. Like,
And that's funny. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'd almost prefer to shoot a unique animal than the same. Like, we were out, and this is an interesting story. We were out and we found goats right next to the car, right? We'd gone out for a big old walk. Day one, we came back to the car, and Grant goes, what are they doing there? Like, at first we're like, maybe they're pigs. And we had a look through the Nockies, and you're like, they are way too low to be goats. And then they were goats. They were just all hanging around the car, hanging very close by. And sure enough, we got a stalk on a fair few of them. And the first stalk we tried to do, is open country, right? Like, we came over a hill, so we got close to them. I think we were 80 metres at the top of the hill. And you're like, if we just walk single file at them, slow walk, we should be able to get in pretty close. And we got to 38 metres, and we were about to draw, and then they got right onto us, and they blew out. But the next little part, like, they ran away, and we looked down the hill, and there's a whole heap more down there. So we started walking towards them, and you said, mate, there's one old one in there. It's an old billy with half a horn on one side. And I said, oh, what colour is he? I can't see him yet. And I saw him, and all I wanted to do was shoot that billy. Like, because he's so unique, right? Something like that is it's odd. It's different.
yeah, no, I reckon that's probably why it's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's just exactly that. Like,
Yeah.
you just said it.
Unique's always good. Anyone can shoot a bog standard run of the mill, but
Yep.
something that's got one snapped off horn, like, you got to go, how'd he do it?
Yep.
Was it fighting? Did he get stuck in a tree?
Exactly. He's got a
You
story.
know, like,
Yep.
just, yeah, unique stuff's always, I don't know, cooler than the bog standard run of the mill.
Definitely. It was funny because he actually came to me. He was the closest for a long time. And I'm like, oh, do I just shoot him anyway? We're gonna do curries anyway.
thought you were going to rail him. We're looking back there and just going, Well, that one's the closest, and then you like looking at me doing some sort of
I
weird
was trying
sign
to tell you
language.
that my
And I'm just going,
rangefinder wasn't working.
Just shoot one. We need one for curry. Come on, chippity chop. No muck around here.
I couldn't tell how far they were. I'm like, they're between. I was between 20 and 30. I'm like, they're roughly between 20 and 30. I'm trying to range them for age. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not working. It's not working. And I was hoping you might range me and range them and be like 20 or 30, like some fingers. And that's where that game of playing the range.
The most important part about them ones, they were between us and the car.
Yeah.
If the shot was good, wasn't going to be a long pack
We were
out.
very close. And the shot was good. That wasn't a long back out.
No,
and
it
then
was
you
good.
got to do a follow-up, right? You got to chase
Yeah, we
another
ended
one.
up
And
getting back
two
onto a
goats very quick.
different thing there and got another one. So, yeah. What are we at now? Yeah, tomorrow night, be 2 dirty, great big goat curries going on.
It's going to be great.
Beautiful.
So,
Very great. I'm looking forward to it. But on the whole talk of pigs, raising them up to make them be the best critters in general, in a sense, you were talking about on the other side of the screen, you were talking about...
Go back for a second.
Yeah, go on.
I've preached to my wife and I've preached to all my friends. I do not believe you can get better pork to eat than feral pork.
Yeah.
You eat a wild pig that is in the right condition, obviously. Like,
Definitely.
yes,
You got to check the
No,
Yes.
not a
no
tree.
roadkill. No roadkill, guys.
You know the right pig when you shoot it.
Yep.
Like, it's fat as mud.
Definitely.
It's not in pig. You shoot a little sow. You can shoot a little boar.
Yep.
Of a young age. You eat that pig, and he tastes that
good.
much better than the crap you buy off the shelf. It's pumped full of whatever and been fed full of whatever
Definitely.
to get big in 3 months or 2 months so they can kill it. I don't know. Honestly, you can't get any better than it. I don't believe.
Yeah, I honestly, some of the best eating pork I've ever had was the pork that I got. I can't remember where we were, but yeah, it was incredible. Like, it was actually really, really good. And to be honest, it was very, very similar size to the pig that we shot, that pig that I shot the first day when the one tumbled over and rolled over. I was like, no, I don't know, mate. No, we were at the very first start of our hunt.
Well, I think, we have brucellosis that's here, and I don't really know what signs you look for. I don't know if there are signs that you
it's
can
all
pick
blood,
for
right?
it.
You can't really tell with that. I don't know.
Boars, I think, swollen nuts.
Nah, but if you've got cropping country or stuff like that, and they're a young pig, and they're only eating that particular thing, like you don't eat a 10, 5, whatever how old boar that's been eating dead kangaroos and roadkill and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah.
cut them up, have a look at the internals. If the lung, the liver, the heart all looks pretty healthy. Like, I've been mixing a little bit of wild pork in with me venison mince, and it takes it from one level to just a whole new level. It's delicious.
Yeah, that's incredible. At the same time, I honestly think about that in general, like a lot of people, especially where I kind of grew up at Springshaw, they're the filthiest critters on there. You wouldn't touch them. Like, don't ever go anywhere near them. But it's funny because they're the ones that get shot and put in the chillers and sent over to Germany for consumption, right? Like, it's constantly happening. It's interesting.
They're all pink on the inside.
Yeah. Fucking hell. But what I was building on to, we started talking about this in January. You were saying, like, the pickings that the deer are eating right now is very relevant to what their antler growth will look like next year. So we are in July, are we? Yeah, July.
June, July, yeah. We're mid-July now when we're
Mid-July,
doing
and
this.
you're saying how that starts to affect their growth for next year, which happens in the next 3 to 4 months, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
so, this is what starts their antler growth now. So, again, not a scientist, haven't been to uni.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it, but just from speaking to other people, reading some books and stuff like that and experience, the winter condition is what the antler looks like, and then your summer, feed and stuff, is what their body looks like.
Yep.
So if you have a really good winter and a really good summer like we have had the last couple of years, come the rut, you're going to have
Great antlers.
exceptional deer in exceptional shape, exceptional antlers, everything's just going on par, whereas you have a shit winter like sort of what we're having now, the antler growth might be a little bit stunted or hindered. But then we come up, we get a bit of rain, we have some good summer conditions, and they feed up. They'll bulk up and they'll be fat as mud. And come February and stuff like that, if you knock one over for meat, they'll be an inch of fat all over them. But come the rut, like their antler growth may not be as good as what it could have been. Whereas if you have a great winter and a shitty summer, you're going to have good antlers and the bodies are going to be a bit, malnourished and stuff like that. But the bucks also eat. It's weird that they eat like foliage and stuff that you wouldn't think, like just rough plants and like there's cropping country, like where we are here. There's some cropping country down. There's kikuyu grass. There's a multitude of different things, but you'll often see bucks eating like leaves off trees.
I love that.
Tea tree
I was about to say that's like the coolest thing I've
like
seen.
that.
Like this weekend, just you keep seeing it. The bucks jump on their hind legs, they reach up and they eat off the trees. It's so
they're
cool
up
to
eating
watch.
foliage and stuff like that, and under the tree there's half a foot of green
Grass.
kikuyu grass that you're like, surely it's softer, it's more supple, it's tastier, but they're up there eating sticks, twigs, and leaves off these trees, and it's just like you rattle your brain. But obviously they know something, it must be more protein in that particular thing, or
some sort of nutrient that they need.
Well, they know what works for them.
Definitely, yeah. And I've been really surprised actually this weekend about the size of some of the deer that you guys have here. And something we talked about on the Q&A was like, how often do the males move off versus come back? What do you see on your block in particular? And I know it's kind of all a bit different, but I'd say that somewhat to an extent the Hunter Valley or the Hunter region in general would have similar kind of things happening to what you guys have going on here. But with the bucks that you guys see, are you able to kind of track them all year round or not at all? They go away during the rut.
Some bucks you see sort of year in, year out. They move up and down the valley, and they might it might be 5 or 6, 10 Ks that they move and transition at different times of the year. And then there's other bucks that rock up here, they're through the rut, and then you don't see them again. Some turn up mid-Feb in that last stage of growing out the velvet. They strip out and move off. It all varies. Like one of those Q&A things there was February. We've got a heap of rub trees. I'm seeing deer.
Seeing all the boys,
but then
but
come
no
the rut,
girls.
and I'm not seeing them. You've got the prime block to be shooting a velvety because they're coming there. They're doing their summer grow out. Obviously, you've got food there that is good for their like physical growing that they want, and it's the right conditions or the right area, so they're going to be in there, and that's the prime thing. But the variation in the country we have here goes from like completely flat cropping style country to mountain, hill, rock escarpment, the whole way through it. Like it's just a really good variation of country, whereas other places may not have that. You might just have the hilly stuff, you might just have the does, you may just have bucks. Like it all, everywhere's different. But here we have some that are permanent, like. And we've got casties here and stuff like that, and we've gone back and people have shot deer, and then we've got trail cams as well, like running a heap of trail cams. You'll see a trail cam pic of a deer, 3 days later we've shot it, and then you're going through and you go, oh, I'm sure we've seen one like that. You go back, you start looking, and 12 months ago, similar genetics and everything, just, he's 5 Ks down the road, like a different property.
Yeah, wow.
Across the valley, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, been here the whole time, but you don't see them. But the camera picks them up. Like they vary.
In regards to the genetics of the deer and a mong head, I know, like with the reds, for instance, it can happen pretty quickly with, like, they get an injury and it looks like it's a mong head. It's not a genetic fault, but a lot of people think of it as a genetic fault. Is it a similar kind of concept for the fallow? Can they injure their antlers and get pretty weird growths happening?
Well, I've read and heard somewhere that if a deer, like say you shoot a deer in its left shoulder, the following year its right antler will be lacking. Huh. I don't know how true that is. It's just something I heard. But here, I've never seen it. Yeah, then injury.
Injury causes.
No, I guess it's
but it affects the opposite side, which is a weird thing. Like you'd think
antler growth.
If it damages the left shoulder or the left side of the body, it'd affect the left, but it's the opposite.
So, like, while you're talking about this, I've got one for the Q&A, or A&Q, whatever way that goes.
How many beers you had, Benny? This is becoming a bow hunter, not Alcoholics Anonymous, mate.
Well, you got to get it out somewhere. So
It makes sense, but right, if you hurt your right knee,
Hold your mic up,
you
mate.
start favouring your left side to help nurse the right knee.
I was going to say that, but also you think about the process needed to fix.
That's
That's
right.
right.
something I would like to know, though, and you boys probably be able to answer it because I can't remember who I was having this discussion with, but how much do hinds or does influence in the genetics of
Interesting
next
question.
year's genetics?
So this is something that's coming up a lot with my uncle right now, who is breeding stud cattle and breeding like some incredible bulls.
That's right.
And he's like
Does it
80%
come
of
from-
it comes to the female.
from the cow.
He's
Makes
like
sense.
it comes so much to the cow more than
Right.
it does to the
So
bull.
why if the cow, the hind, the doe carries that genetics? This is my question. Like I said, I don't know the answer, and someone might be able to answer it. Why, if they carry the genetic, do we shoot cull heads? Like, why does it matter? Is my sense like, okay, obviously they carry a
Well,
genetic,
it's a
but
part of it. Obviously.
exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a part of it. But why, if like I've been told by different people, like the hind carries the genetics, the stag doesn't. So okay, well, why do we kill cull
It's simple,
stags?
right? You can't kill a cull head doe, right? You don't know what doe has a cull head.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. You can't, like, people go, I shot it because it's a cull head, but if it means nothing in the genetics, well, it's just a deer.
I think it still
Like-
means something in genetics, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
definitely.
It comes
That's
from
what
both
I'm asking.
sides.
That's what I'm
But-
saying.
But
Like-
I think realistically, for it to be like an exceptional head, it's going to come down to if it's anything like the cows or like the
Yeah, you
bulls.
need
that-
alphas.
But so my
need
question
both, yeah.
is like, okay, that deer's got a, like, mongrel head. Does that go any further? Basically, does that come from the hind that it come from, or it was
He gonna
born
breed another
from,
mongrel head.
or is that like it come from the hind? So yes, it's
Is
a
it gonna
mongrel
pass
head,
down?
but does it go any further?
Yeah, and I guess the concept is yes, and I don't know if that's coming from farmers, deer farmers, or not. Right?
Well, it has to be,
Well,
right? You can't tell if a doe is going to produce a mongrel head, but you can tell.
No,
if
but
a,
they say that they carry the genetic.
But I would think a mongrel head would come from an inbred situation, wouldn't it? And that would be my
I don't know.
my thought process.
Not too sure, because like the inbreeding in animals, it's not the same as people.
No,
I
definitely.
don't believe the way that it works. But with that, the cull head, there's two sides to it. It has to help, like every little bit helps. So
Yeah.
if you've got a head that's an absolute piece of shit, if you take it out, it has to be doing something beneficial, even if it's only 10%. 10%'s better than nothing. The other side of it is, it's a really good excuse to kill a deer.
Yeah.
and it's still got meat on it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they still got
You're
meat,
using
but
it
if
as a
you're
process.
shooting-
We got
Cull
one this
deer.
year, didn't we? We shot a cull head after the rut.
Yeah,
You and I,
shoot,
a couple
you
of
shoot
weeks
culls
ago.
after the rut, or you shoot them like well before the rut. But if you're shooting a cull well rutted up and saying it's for meat, you got rocks in your head. Set it here first.
It's going to taste a bit funky and not going to get much from it.
Oh, they just and there's people out there that like eating rutted up bucks, and kudos to you. But yeah, if my dog turns its nose up at it, there's a pretty good chance I'm turning my
Well, they
nose
just
up
taste
at
like
it.
they smell, don't they? They literally taste like they smell.
You wouldn't taste real good, bud.
No, mate, I wouldn't. Not after the Sarbo's little episode.
But yeah, the genetic talk of it, like every little bit has to help, and obviously
Definitely.
you can't
I
see a doe's genetics.
I certainly don't disagree in that. I suppose, like I said, maybe I should have got in on this question answer side of things, because it's just something that, being around so many different hunters, you hear so many different opinions, and I've heard so much that the hind, the doe, is the carrier of the genetic,
Yep.
their good genetics, and you go, okay, well, like, you don't know what to believe because you get told 10 different things,
I think
and you
it'd
go,
be a question for like, you Kev Shields or something like that.
Yeah,
that's had
yeah.
the deer farm in advance and know that sort of
The
side.
person or the people that would know would be velvet breeders,
Yeah, yeah.
because their whole industry, their whole job is based around producing the biggest, massive antler
Exactly.
to get the most velvet
Yeah, that's the
per
answer.
thing.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh,
they
oh.
may have a thing there where they've got particular does or hinds tagged, and they know
Who produced what?
127 produces these 20 fucking million point
Exactly.
stags when bred with buck X, and the next doe produces a 6x6
Yep.
mated with the same stag.
I've got the same answer, but what we were talking about in the car with my wife and I know my genetics are in one of my sons, and I know my wife's family's genetics are in my other sons, and their antlers are very different antlers. So there's a story to be told, but you need to, obviously you need to be in camp.
So are you saying you got a cull-head at home or what?
I've got the cull-head, and one of my sons is also a cull-head, but we're not going to shoot him. He's all right.
Jesus.
But I've got a son, and he's a 220 plus, that fella. He's a 220 plus, that fella. He's going good.
Proud dad, hey?
Proud dad.
There was actually another question that got missed on the Q&A. I can't remember the guy's name, which I'm sorry about. But he slipped into my DMs and sent me a longer message because he was like, I couldn't fit it into the actual question box. Hence why I forgot to put it into the system. And the question was, how much do you have to change where the vitals would usually sit when an animal is laying down? And the process for him was a goat that was actually laying down, and he thought he did a completely perfect shot, and it didn't go down. And the hard thing is that goats they're tough, they're hearty, they'll run on anything. Unfortunately,
Like donkeys.
We were talking about that when we were shooting targets yesterday.
They'll go and go and go, but in the same situation. So obviously, the organs will maneuver a little bit when they're laying down. So what does that look like, and what should you change for when you're shooting a lying or a sleeping animal?
So for a goat, there's a big variation before or after water. And depending on the climate, if you're hunting a goat in summer in a western area and it's just got a belly full of water, it's going to push all of its vitals forward. So while it's full, and then you've got to think too, so it has a big drink and then goes and lays up under a tree. So its vitals already push forward from having a belly full, because you watch them walk in, they look like little, anorexic Ethiopians. They come out looking like Jabba the Hutt, just waddling out, and then they go and camp up and bed down, and all of that has to go somewhere. The skin only stretches so far, so it's pushing all those vitals right forward. So for a goat, it's a
big difference.
Nothing else drinks that way that I've seen. Like pigs, they'll go down, they have a sip of water, they wallow, they piss and shit, they do what they do. They walk out, whereas a goat goes down and sits there and just it fills up, and you watch it just expand and expand and expand. But I actually had a stalk this morning on a bedded boar, and I was explaining to one of the guys there, I'd have to aim an inch off the dirt line for where he was laid, and it makes the shot a lot more difficult because
Hold it back up.
in your head, you're, 1/3 the way up the body, but then it's laid down.
That's better.
And you're putting that pin just like it's not 1/3 off the up. You're almost on the dirt level. And then I went into a little bit more detail and went, well, when you're in Cape York or up north there, and the boars are in like a sandy creek, and they
bury the chest in a bit more.
They bury themselves in. Sometimes you're aiming at the sand line, or even you're aiming at the sand, you have to put the arrow through the sand to get there, and it's just an absolute head fuck because it blows everything out. So when they're camped up, all that vital area compresses.
You've had a good day though, Toby.
Toby's become a bow hunter on this trip.
Couple of first to species, hasn't he? Banged them out.
There's been a lot, yeah. Nothing like the block to give it to him, that's for sure. He gave me a lot.
Oh, we've been giving it to him.
Velcro gloves and all.
They're going all right.
No, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. As a guiding service that you guys are.
Don't start that shit.
Hunting with friends. That's
Exactly, but as
hunting with mates.
Exactly,
That's exactly
but
what it is.
As that process, you guys actually do take a lot of new hunters out in general. Every new person has their own quirks and things they have to overcome when it's coming to an animal. What do you do to kind of help support them along with that? And I think you guys have very different approaches. So, Corey, maybe if you want to touch into it so Grant can eat some food for a bit.
Mine's simple, right? I like to get in close, even though I dropped the ball this afternoon on my own hunt. But I like to get in close. I like to get them in, stalking as close as possible. I've had mates that have come hunting with bows and rifles, and I've taken all of them hunting, right? All sorts of hunting, and I've got mates that come to camp and say, I can shoot at 330 metres, no worries, we get close enough and I'll fucking bang them. And I say, no, mate, we're not doing that. We're going to get the wind right and we're going to get sub 30 metres and we're going to shoot it like... Even if you have a gun here in my camp, you're going to shoot it as if we were bow hunting, even with the gun. So it might make it harder for a rifle hunter because their rifle's scoped in at 100 metres, but we're also going to teach them how to hunt. I like getting them in close. It's just the best part about it. Toby and I yesterday belly crawled into 2 fallow bucks feeding in the paddock and let Toby get in front and just sort of get as close as I can and talk him through the hunt, or have him behind me getting in as close as we can and talking him through the hunt. Or obviously different levels, people you hunt with. Like today, we went hunting. We had an idea in our head. The idea didn't work. You went off on your own and you ended up shooting a deer.
Yeah.
So taking people hunting, everyone has their own versions of hunting, right?
Definitely.
You got to give everyone an option at hunting their way.
Yeah.
Tell them your version. Even when Grant and I go hunting together, I just sneak up the arse of these guys. The wind's good, and I'd just go and straight up and go and hunt them. And then we'd have discussions in the hills going, no, mate, I'm going to go up this gully here. They're going to walk up that way. I can see where they're going.
Definitely.
The versions of hunting are...
I don't think there's a right or wrong, right?
There is no right or wrong.
The right
There's just
one is the
different
one that gets the
versions.
job done. But
Yeah.
at the same time, sometimes neither of the options are going to get the job done because of winds and whatever else. How much of it is teaching them to fish versus showing them, right? Like, and it depends on the variation of the person and how far into their level of
that's
hunting
right.
they are, right?
Well, you just teach them the basics, right? So shadows. Don't walk in the sun if you've got a 40-metre shadow behind you,
Yep.
because you're 5.5 foot or 6
giant.
foot, 6'4" like you.
You throw a 200-foot shadow.
Yeah, that's right. You're a massive big target that you're trying to hide from. You get the wind right always. That's the first thing. Wind, shadows. Get in the shadows. Stay behind the animal. Have something in front of you, something behind you. Break it up. The hunt is simple, right? Well, you break it down into simple things. The process.
of the
That's
hunt,
right.
yeah.
You break it down into simple things. You teach them what you have to do. Wind, shadows. Don't want the sun in your face. You got to hide your face if you do. And then the stalk is slow and steady on species, or fast and furious on other species. Like,
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
even species, just
The
time and place.
opportunities,
Time
right?
and place.
opportunities. That's
Definitely.
the word.
And it was interesting today, like, we set ourselves up for an ambush and it was going to be perfect. It was going to be the first
It was
proper
looking good.
ambush
Yeah.
I had ever pulled off properly. I'm like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
And then it all just fell apart like that. It was actually a cool situation. We had an eagle fly over.
Yeah, that's right.
And it attacked a kangaroo that was just up the hill from these fallow does, and then it pretty much missed the kangaroo, saw the does, and got them into this bush, and was just
Yeah, he sat in a tree, 15 metres above him, and just
Yep.
watched them.
Yeah.
Pushed them into the shrub and didn't let them leave.
which worked out really well because it meant that they were focused on him. So I ran up the
him.
hill real quick.
Yeah. We're
and
only
then
40-odd metres off them.
we were 80 at that point.
Oh, we're
so
80, that's
I ran
right.
up
Yeah,
to
we're in the
40.
gully. Yep.
And then they decided to make a run for it, and they ran straight out in front of me. So
That's
it worked
right.
out really well.
Beautiful shot, 15 metres, dead deer.
Dead deer.
Yep.
Always good.
Just one important thing on that there, like all the things Corey's just said with the thing, it's pretty much the same way that I hunt or go about hunting with a new person. But your shot execution and the way you take a shot, it should be something that you've practiced before.
Definitely.
And like a muscle core memory type thing. So when you're doing it, and don't look at antlers, horns, teeth. Don't focus on that. Don't
I've done
focus
that
on
the
the
wrong way,
whole
haven't I?
animal. Yeah, hey, we're all anyone that bow hunts. If they say they haven't done that, they're just lying.
Definitely.
Pick
And I
a
think
spot on the animal, burn that hole, and do it. And like even the trad boys here are doing their different thing. That's something that they're working out now. That picking a spot and burning a hole and going through it. But the shot has to be something that's muscle memory. Like it has to be. Don't try and bow hunt if you've just brought a bow.
Yeah,
Don't buy a
practice
bow
bow hunting.
Thursday and try
Go
hunting on
hunt.
Saturday.
No,
It's not going to
definitely.
work.
Definitely. And I think as that, I do wonder how much of you're always going to get the adrenaline dump when you see an animal and you're close for the first time. All that's going to happen no matter what the caliber of the animal is. I wonder how much of that transitions or changes for us the more that we get into hunting, the more we start to find these animals as trophies to some extent. Like you see a big old massive buck on your very first hunt, and you shoot it, and you've never seen a buck like that before. You don't know any different as such. Versus you're 5-10 years into it, you see this big old buck right in front of you, you start shivering and shaking because you're thinking about too much. It's like you've got this new perception of it, and I wonder how much of that plays on it.
Oh, we call that the Rob effect or the kissed on the
Yeah,
dick.
that's right. Kissed on the dick. Exactly. That's what I was about
Some
to say.
people literally have, like, everyone, like, you shoot a few good critters and everyone goes, oh, you're so lucky. And you go, nah. It's a mathematical thing. Luck is generated by the time you spend in the bush and also the amount of effort you put into it. If you don't practice, you don't, you go out once a year, don't expect to be great at it, don't expect to shoot great things. The exception happens, and those guys shoot one good critter their entire thing, and that's just how it is. You have a look at the people that are consistently putting good critters on the ground, they're consistently hunting.
In the bush.
Definitely.
They're out there. Like, the more you're there, the
more opportunities you're going to get.
well, the odds are in your favour more.
Exactly.
If you can't kill something sitting at home on the lounge.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be in the bush. You have to put yourself. The boots have to be on the ground. You can do as much reconnaissance through Google, trail cams, talking to people. But if you're not there in the situation and in the moment, you're never gonna shoot a critter.
To deal with the swirly winds and
I
whatever
think
else that it comes
going,
with it, right?
Going back to like new hunters and taking people out like that are very green to the sport. Normally one massive rookie mistake I've made numerous times. I'm a very slow learner. You get your new mate, whatever. You go, mate, here, shoot a bow. Yep, sweet. He shoots the target in camp. Shoots the target beautifully. 20 metres. He's hitting that point. You go, yep, sweet. Let's go hunting. But you don't take the time to stop and talk through the situation, like going whistling foxes. I love whistling foxes. I'll whistle up a fox, but I don't tell him what to do once that fox comes in. You rattle up a deer. The deer comes running in, and when you go, meow, you do a little doe call to stop the deer. The deer stops. Your mate stands there and looks at it.
Yep.
Because he doesn't know that, okay, mate, when I call this deer up,
I learned all those the hard way.
I'm going to doe call, and
so
when it stops, that is your cue to shoot. When it stops, when I doe call it and it stops, that is your time to do what you got to do.
Over communication.
That's right. But
and
I've made that mistake.
You just assume, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. You just go, oh, okay, when I doe call, he's going to shoot. But
he's watched some videos.
When someone's so green, they don't know that. So that is one key thing. Yes, they can shoot the target absolutely beautifully, and you go, yep, righto, sweet, we're ready to go hunting. He's ready. But you gotta stop and take that second to go, okay, mate, this is a scenario. I'm going to whistle up a fox. He's going to come into literally 5 metres, and I'm going to go, oi, and he'll stop and look.
And you plug him.
And that's when you shoot him.
I think that's what I really like about these sort of situations. Coming into a camp like this, hunting with multiple different people, you get to explore what other options other people would take. And like today, for instance, Corey and I are like, oh, we should do this, or we should go there, or we should do that. And it's like we bounce ideas off of each other. Same for when Grant and I were hunting yesterday. I'm like, oh, would you go this way or would you go this way? Because this way, you've got the wind doing this, versus that way, it's probably the best. And you're like, oh, you know what? I'd actually go this way. And it just puts new perspectives and new thought process into your head. And I think that's the building. I don't know, building better bows.
Well, it's nice to hunt with people that can hunt, obviously, right? So if you go hunting with a bloke, he's never been here before, but he knows how to hunt, like yourself. Well, you've been here once before, right? But you know how to hunt. So we go, all right, we're going to cut across this gully because the wind's good, right? This is the way we're going. Our end goal's over here. What would you do? Oh, well, I'd go over and push over to that gully and let's get high so we can glass or... All right, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. But we like asking it, right?
Definitely.
What are you going to do? Oh, I want to do this. Well, hey, I don't want to do that because of this, right? The sun's right up our arse and we're about to throw a 60-metre shadow.
Yeah.
All right, good idea. Let's hug the tree line or whatever we're going to do to stay out of the sun. Yeah. It's nice bouncing ideas off other hunters.
And I think when you say it like that as well, like, oh, I wouldn't do it like that because of X, Y, and Z, it just starts to burn that imprint in the brain a little bit more.
Yep.
While we're on the luck side of things, there's a video that everyone should watch on YouTube. It's by Darren Brown, who is a famous magician from England. And it's the video itself is called, it's either The Secret of Luck or The Truth About Luck. 45 minutes, fucking incredible. Like I would show it to my whole family. We went and did retreats, like health retreats, and we would show people on the retreat just to like transition their mindset on this thing. Very worth the watch. I'm not going to ruin it at all, but yeah, make
Does
sure
he make
do that.
Luck's fake?
No, you have to fucking watch it, don't you?
Make your own luck.
You make your own luck. Essentially, it's
that's
the whole
right.
process of it. Yeah. In short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny, with what you were going to say? Sorry, how much can you share on what you shared with me last night when we were shooting targets? You want to give a quick rundown on that at all?
Yeah, I can.
Because it was crazy. We shot.
Here we go. It's a 3-hour podcast.
We shot 4 arrows, and we went from literally. I hadn't shot my recurve bow in a long time. Like
Yep.
it's been. I think it's been years.
Yep.
To be honest, and you're like, mate, come over here, come have a shot. And we
Yeah,
had
this is
drinks.
few rums and 10 o'clock at night. but yeah.
Exactly. We're all tired and ready to rumble.
Yep. But we narrowed it down from like a beach ball to a soccer ball to
hitting my target, like exactly
hitting your
where I was
target within 4 goes,
Yeah.
5 goes.
So it's a bit of a narrowing of the focus, but also understanding what tricks your mind wants to play on you, right? That's essentially the tricks of the trade or the concept of it.
So I guess this applies with compounds and traditional bows. I can only comment on the trad bow stuff because like Jack and Ash and I were sharing camp a few weeks ago when we were out. And anyway, I was struggling bad. I wasn't shooting good. And anyway, the boys run me through. They had their course with Joel. And anyway, they just said, just try this, Benny. Just try it. And anyway, so I tried it. And within, like I said to you last night, you're not going to get it first go. Like your arrow is not going to go anywhere where you want because you're getting the feel for things to start with. But once your body becomes more relaxed with it, you're going to... this is going to work better for you. So basically, you're drawing your bow. That's just pulling your bow back. That's the first step. Pull your bow back. You're not worried about how far back it is, anything like that. You're just drawing it back to where it's comfortable.
You're still trying to find your anchor point.
Basically, but I guess you find your anchor point, but nothing comes together until you take tension. Mm-hmm. So you're taking tension on the string. You're aligning everything. When you take tension on the string, your shoulder, your elbow, it comes into alignment. Mm. So basically then that's when your mind starts to panic. So obviously with a traditional bow, there is no let off. There's 0 let off. So it is you are holding that poundage the whole time. So basically as soon as your mind starts to panic, you're looking at the target, you're seeing the whole target. Your mind starts to panic. Your focus will then zero in basically on the shelf of your bow, the point of your arrow, when it starts to shake. Mm-hmm. Like, because you're going, oh, shit, I can't hold this. You then need to basically keep your focus on that point you want to hit. You can't, you've basically just got to fight that, your mind going, I have to let go. Oh, I can't hold this anymore. You get through that. You don't think you can, and this is where the practice comes in. You will not get it first go. But once you learn to control your brain, the panic of, I'm starting to shake, I can't hold it anymore, to focus on that point. You focus on the point, you release a safety. So it can be anything. You move your finger. You can you can do many different things to releasing your safety. Mm-hmm. And so that's basically just relaxing your mind, like you're in control, okay? You've got your bow back, everything's good, you're letting your safety off, you're ready to shoot. But generally at that point, right when you let your safety off, that's your mind going, my safety's off, I can shoot.
I get to shoot, yeah.
Which is exactly what we went through last night, but that is not the case because your mind will step straight back into that panic of, I need to let go. Mm-hmm. So as soon as your safety's off, you're in control, but you can't let it go back to that panic. Your focus is on that point. And the whole target, you will go from seeing the entire picture, the trees, the pig, everything. Yeah. But there's a little pink dot on what you are looking at, and that is what you're looking at. Your entire focus will come back in to that dot. And it'll come in and it'll go out, as you experienced last night. And it'll come in, it'll go out. But as you become more controlled, you practice more, and I'm still learning this myself, but it is absolutely work wonders to my grouping, my shooting with a traditional bow. basically then, when your focus comes in and is all you see is that point that you're looking at, and that is when you release.
It was so interesting because to me it's kind of like the whole process, in a sense, without me realizing it, as to what I do when I actually go hunting. Because you're just so laser focused on one thing, right? You're trying to find vitals. And for me, that comes down to finding one small point on the animal and working off of that, essentially. And you essentially went through the process of showing me what to do to focus on one spot, which is what I was doing in a hunting situation, but not necessarily always to be able to do without that. So it's pretty interesting as a process in general, like just to kind of see it come together, but especially within 4 shots. Well,
that's right, and it's amazing how fast it does come together, but it's certainly, like, you'll try it and you'll shoot the arrow down the paddock and you go, well, that doesn't work. Well, that's not the case. No, it's a matter of training the brain that it's okay to panic, but we're going to get through it. Like, it's... Definitely. You go, and exactly when you have... a 220-point buck or a big hooky boar come walking into you, what does your brain do?
Yep,
you panic.
Teeth and the antlers.
You're like, yes, there's people that don't panic, but any hunter in their right mind, me, that animal comes walking in, there's part of you that goes into panic, and how many times that you will look and you shoot the animal, you're successful, the shot's lethal, the animal dies in 20 metres, but if you actually stop and go back in that moment, what were you seeing?
Exactly.
Like, yes, your pin was on the spot. Yes, it was that. But what were you actually looking at? A lot of the times you can't actually answer that question because, yes, you're doing everything you do, but there's a part of you that's not focused on what you are actually doing.
Yeah.
And when you can control that focus and bring it into one point, I guess it's just upping your percentages of making sure that you're successful in what you're trying to do.
Definitely. Do you guys, in the sense of what you guys do, is there... just seen some photos from today. Is there... What do you guys go through as a shot process for yourself when you're going for an actual critter? Does it vary from when you practice or whatever? Or is it exactly the same? Like, what goes through the head? And I think everyone changes it a little bit when it's the critter's right there and you're just about to take the shot.
Well, I've got a constant battle in my brain because I have the back of the shoulder, so that crease, and 3/4 of the way up. So I'm aiming for a lung, right? And I've got a constant battle of getting my as soon as I draw my bow back, I'm aiming for that spot.
Yeah.
The back of the shoulder, the back crease, and 3/4 of the way up. I'm aiming for a lung. And I've got a battle in my brain saying, nah, drop it down and move it over. The triangle, so Smitty and Randy and Summers and everyone that I've always tell me, aim for the triangle, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
But this thing in my head has this spot on an animal, which is the crease and 1/4 of the way up, because I know where the lungs are, right? That's a safety net in my brain. Like, hit the lungs on the fucking thing. But it's not where you want to be aiming, right? You want to be aiming for vitals. Lungs are vitals, but aim for the heart. But that's the thing that I'm burning in my head, so I'm always aiming for that triangle. So even if I draw and I hit that, I naturally draw, and my sights are on that spot, that my automatic.
You have to pull down,
and then I drag it over. Yep. And I'd say to myself on the riser, it says "Focus, you fuckwit." The bow I bought off Randy. And as I read it written on the riser, I literally drag my where it needs to go.
So
the
sights on where it needs to go.
Built
into your process is reading the riser every time.
It's part of the process, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like bubble, focus, you fuckwit, settle, draw, pull through your shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good little reminder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's right there in your face. That's something I picked up from Grant Hughes years ago. He had something not quite as savage on his, but I think he may have just had focus, and I just modified mine to be a bit more suited. But for myself, and like, I struggled with target panic for a long time, and I could hit a Reinhardt dead centre perfect one shot and then completely miss it the next at 20 yards.
Yeah, wow.
But doing a bit more like coaching, or learning and coaching, I suppose you'd call it, from Ian, and watching a few videos and just listening to other people and how they got through target panic and stuff like that, I've learnt your subconscious will work with your brain. So if you pick the spot that you want to hit and you burn that hole in that spot, your pin will naturally levitate to that area.
Yeah, rather than focusing on the pin.
Rather than focus on a pin.
Yep.
Focus on what you want to hit.
Yep.
And as you're looking through your peep and everything like that,
thanks, bro,
the rest of the system just goes into auto mode, and it sits where it wants to, and that's how my shot sequence goes.
Yep.
Like, I hunted for 18 months with a back tension release, and I've just gone back to a thumb activated release.
Oh, got you.
And
Have you seen a massive difference in your thumb activation compared to the back tension? Or
No.
It's, yeah,
No,
you
because
just drilled it in so
that
much.
time, like, I spent 18 months and I did not shoot any other release aid, and it was literally I was shooting a different bow, and I was like, I'll use this and just mix it up. And went, I actually really enjoy this thumb activated release again, and I'm not having to think so much about holding the thing in, drawing back, setting in, releasing, and then
Pulling. Yep.
Because it takes time. Like that.
It does.
That sequence takes, let's say, 5 seconds.
Yep.
If you're onto something that's just about to walk or just about to move, sometimes you don't have 5 seconds.
Definitely.
This morning, a boar. If I had that release aid, I would have been nowhere near it. I would have set into the mode of doing the shot, and I probably would have shot it through the guts, because I would have got into that mode of executing the shot and doing the sequence, and then 2, 3, 4 seconds later, it would have gone off.
Yep.
Pig would have taken a step. Whereas with this thumb activated and where I'm back to now, I'm at full draw. I've got my thumb wrapped around it, and I'm starting to take tension up, and then he moved off, and I just relax.
Yeah.
Because I can back in and out of that sequence a lot
Definitely.
easier than the other one. It's like a marriage. It's a commitment till death almost, or divorce, one of the two. Whereas the thumb, she's like a one-night stand.
No, it's funny because you don't hear of many people going from. You hear of a lot of people going from a trigger of some sort to a back tension, but you don't hear of many people going back after, right? From back tension back to triggers.
Don't rush.
Yeah.
Don't rush. One thing I will say, don't rush back to it. And even then, now I mix. Both of those are the Stand Perfects range, and one I have is like they're both a long neck, so one's a resistance and one's a thumb activated. So it's the exact same release in hand. It's just the functionality is different.
Yep.
So nothing major changes with how I anchor, where I hold the release to my face. Everything's identical. It's literally just that having to hold the trigger in to draw back, then letting it go and focus and doing my thing. Break Ben's fingers here in a minute.
Being cheeky.
And then the other way is just literally drawing back without that thumb around it, settling, wrapping around, and then starting the take up and doing it. And I have more control now of the sequence.
Yeah.
Whereas before you commit to the sequence and you have to write it out. You can't just stop halfway and go, the pig's moved or the deer's moved or whatever it is. You're committed, and once you're committed, you got to fulfill it. You got to see it through.
Definitely.
Another big thing that you touched on before, but was practicing that shot sequence. So before you go hunting, you were shooting arrows in the backyard.
Yeah, you're shooting that, and it becomes like muscle memory, and that's a very important thing when you get in front of a critter. Taking the shot should be something you've practiced thousands of times.
Like and having a deer target or a dog target or a pig target in the backyard.
A 3D target is
crucial.
so much like. Obviously, you have to be able to afford it, but if you can have a Reinhardt or a dot type target for your sighting the bow in, making sure everything's in check, but then you shoot a 3D target, so you don't have a dot to aim for per se.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you have to pick a spot and execute your shot and do that.
That's
and
a
that
massive
helps.
learning. It's a massive learning. Having an animal target is a huge step in getting from having a target panning where you can shoot a dot. Right, so 40 metres, 50 metres, you can shoot a dot. I can shoot a dot. You get in the paddock and you have a deer or a goat or a pig or whatever it is in front of you, and you go, "Fuck me dead, where am I aiming?"
Well, not everything has a dot.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the other side of it is, like, obviously a lot of these animal targets have been gamified and they've got rings and circles and stuff on them, and they're not necessarily always in the,
you can
the
ignore
right
the
place.
rings.
You can ignore the rings
Yeah.
and you can focus on just where you actually want to shoot for vitals.
Yeah.
Well, the rings are based around your 3D,
Exactly.
AAA,
Game
your
of
That's
ABA.
making a game out of
Exactly.
target shooting.
Yeah, it's a fancy game of darts, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
So-
I think it's important to say as well, right? Don't shoot for your circle.
Don't
'cause
aim
it's
for
not-
the circles.
no,
it's not always
gonna-
where you want to be aiming.
Yeah.
You'll
Well-
be hitting a shoulder blade.
I'm sitting here listening to all you fellas say this.
Oh, sorry. We're
No,
not
no, no.
hearing
Back to
it.
the
I-
stick and string. Yeah,
I-
better than
no,
us
no.
training wheels.
I completely agree with everything you're saying, but I'm sitting here looking at it going, all right, but let's go back to sitting on the rainwater tank tonight. as far as we all get caught up in taking all this stuff very seriously. But why are we out there? You go back to a moment like tonight.
Moon, sunset.
We're out there.
Mates,
There's
tongues.
all us boys sitting up on the hill. We all got back to we all met up back at the ute. We're sitting up on tank. We're taking photos. We're having beers. We're having a laugh. We're having a good time. Mm-hmm. We're out there literally just enjoying ourselves, and that is literally what it's about.
100%.
Like,
we're talking about this in general, like your perspective and your optimism is just so good to have in camp. And we were talking about, we're all out and we're like, oh, we only saw like 30 deer. You come back, we're like, we had the best morning. We saw a fox.
Exactly.
Like, hey, you don't get a nickname like the Fox Fingerer for nothing.
Fox Finder for the PG version. Fox Finder.
But no, it's like, it is so true. You're completely right. And I think it's one of the best things about getting out in camp is it is just so freeing for the mind. It is just so good for, like, I don't know. It always makes me way happier.
Your mental health,
soulful, mate.
like it's a release. But that you go literally tonight's a perfect example. You know, like we can have perfect hunts. I can watch Toby shoot his first fox. We can go through all these things. But you go and have a moment up on a hill with all your mates. You're having a good time, and that's why we're there. You know, that's why we bow hunt. That's why we do what we do, because we enjoy it. And simply doing what we do makes us feel good about ourselves. It makes us feel good with mates. It makes our mates feel good when they're down. You know, it might not be you that is struggling, but it might make your mate feel really good just doing what we are doing. And we can't forget that. No. In all the seriousness, this is why we started doing it as kids, because we fucking loved it. Like, you know, and I feel that gets forgotten a bit.
Definitely.
You know, and like, I don't know, just tonight was a great reminder.
There's a camaraderie gets built through the hardship as well, right? Like you go out and trek the woods and like it's not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily hard either, but you can still go through hard yakka days where you work your asses off. And we've not slept much. We've walked a lot. We've done stuff for the farmers. Like we've kind of done all angles of all things. And yet at the end of the day, you can still sit back and have that smile.
Have a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. It builds that
hear Matty
camaraderie.
fart while you're walking up the hill and make you vomit but piss yourself laughing at the same time.
They'll chainsaw ass.
Can't be as
But
bad
on
as shitting yourself in the last
On
first
that
5
thing there,
minutes.
you said
Tell
with
anyone the stories.
the camaraderie and stuff like that, right? We had, going back a couple of years, there been 4 or 5 of us in camp. It was a really tough rut. 4 days into a 6-day hunt or something. None of us had got a deer on deck. Everything was getting a bit, tensions were heated. Everyone was a bit, burning the wick at both ends. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, one of the boys come back and goes, I got one. And the mood, everything just lifted.
Yeah.
But then after that, boom, boom. Like
it all happened.
Everyone was knocking deer. We went from 4 days of struggling. Everything was crap.
Mm-hmm.
Just, everyone sort of at each other's throat a bit. And
yep.
You lose sight of that mateship and that camaraderie. Then all of a sudden that one tick over and the deer's on deck. And the next, it just builds and builds and
transitions. And
oh, man, it's an amazing thing. And like even with this now, we could have, we're at 20-something, 27 pigs or something like that for 2.5 days or whatever it is. Matty's got a deer. Toby's got his first fox.
Got some goats.
You got a PB goat.
Yep.
You got meat, like all that sorted. If we hadn't got any of that done, we'd still be here, having a drink, having a good time.
Exactly.
Being a pest.
You're always a pest.
Always.
You're a pest 10 minutes before you wake up and 10 minutes after you go to sleep.
But everyone's smiling, eh?
Exactly.
Until they're not, but they're always smiling.
I think the other side to that, though, like, I not that I did the rut by myself, but I messaged you when I was by myself on the back end of my rut, and I was messaging you and Rob. And I was like, I just can't seem to cop a win. And it's just being able to even voice that with your mates, and it's just so powerful. And you sent one message back. It was like, just keep your head down. Like, keep working, Matty. You're almost there. I'm like, fuck, you're right. I'm almost there. And it made me just keep going. Like, it's all you need every once in a while. And it's just, it's that other side to bow hunting. It really is.
Well, that's like,
you don't need a critter on the deck to have a good time.
No, definitely not. And you know what? The times when you don't get a critter on the deck is the times that makes you appreciate it even more. Especially when it's so easy and it just comes to fruition so easily. I think it makes you appreciate those times so much more.
But that's part of the bow hunting thing.
Exactly.
Is like,
that's what makes it so rewarding.
When someone starts bow hunting, you got to expect a 95% failure rate at the start because failure is part of bow hunting.
We were talking about on the hills.
Yeah, yeah.
We're bushwalkers with bows.
Yeah, you have to learn to just it humbles you. It humbles you. No matter how good you are, you can do everything right, and the critter does everything right, and they walk away, and you're going, "What the fuck did I just do?" Time and time again. But when you get that success by yourself, it's awesome. When you're there and you got mates with you, it's just a whole nother.
Especially with Randy, when he comes and bear hugs you and humps
Yeah, I was
your
going to
leg.
say it's just like
mate.
about 4 or 5 broken ribs all at
Yeah,
once.
that bear hug and that little hump when he gets here, he gives you that little tug. That's something special.
I still got that banana in my pocket.
I just want to know how you can will an animal right in front of you, Corey.
Well, you know what you got to do. You just
Curse enough.
spoilt prick, right? This is exactly what happened this afternoon, right? I'm sick of seeing these fucking deer. I just want to see a big boar. And Randy goes, stop. Look to me left. 40 metres off? Big old hairy boar.
63 to be precise.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, if only it was always that easy. But at the same time, you don't want it to be easy. That's what makes bow hunting and hunting in general so much fun.
Well, it's called bow hunting, not bow collecting,
Or bow shooting.
gathering, bow.
Bow collecting, if you're a trad shooter, right? You've got a few bows, don't you?
Oh, they all do. They got to keep
They
the
collect the
firewood
stick and
piles.
strings because they look nice. The firewood piles? Yours are firewood piles because you throw them away after you miss everything.
Oh, they hats off to the guys that can do the trad hunt and do
100%.
it accuracy.
It's next level.
Yeah, bloody oath, it's special.
Hats off, yous are good, but yous are also special.
It's I honestly say, like, you've got that jump from rifle hunting to bow hunting with wheels. You've got that jump again, if not even more, from the wheels to trad bow. Like, yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all hunters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly right. We're all
like,
all
no matter
in it
what
together.
method you pick.
Yeah, hunting's hunting.
Yep.
Shed
No
it in a
matter-
good light, and that's
And
all that matters.
as long as you're right there for the right reason.
Yeah, shed it in a good light, that's all that
Doesn't
matters.
matter
Saying it
how
to
you-
Matty today.
Doesn't matter how you kill animals.
So, Matty today is so thankful for letting you come out here. He's shedding hunting in a good light. He's doing a good thing by his podcast.
Definitely.
And nothing that he says or airs or whatever he does is it bad for hunting, right? Hunting
No,
in general.
that's
Dogs,
the truth.
guns, bows.
If we can't sit in camp and talk about the way we hunt, what we do, how things are evolving, and not be honest about it, then like
What's the point?
what good is it?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we're all
You're never gonna
mates.
shed
like,
good light of it, are you?
Yeah,
like,
that's
you just-
right.
It's all built on lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point in pussyfooting about anything. Just tell it how it is, and then everyone learns and gets on with it. But hunting's a good thing. Being in the bush is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Conservation's a good thing if you do it right. Everything's good. Everything's good about it. But shed it in a bad way, tell bad stories, like get on the piss. Like we're on the piss now, but we're sitting in camp, right?
We've finished
But
hunting.
you
We've
get on the
finished hunting.
piss and you start blowing things away, like or jumping
But
off
you just-
utes and tackling pigs.
Well, you start doing dumb shit, and then you put it up
And
for
then
the
it
world
gets-
to see.
Exactly.
And next
Keep
minute,
it to yourself. Keep it in your camp,
Yeah.
try not to do it.
or don't do it. Yeah.
Don't
Try
recommend this
being
at
the
home.
main word there, but everyone's done dumb shit. That's how you learn.
Exactly.
Shed
Yeah.
hunting in a good light in Australia. We need it.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think there's the whole I can't even remember the word of it, anthropomorphization. What's the word? Do you know it? Anyway, it's the humification of animals that's been done for so many years, right? Like the
Fucking Bambi.
Bambi,
Disney,
there's the,
Walt Disney.
yeah,
I'd like
the
to pick
bears.
that prick
Yogi
up
Bear.
and kick him in the
My
nuts.
dick.
Exactly.
I just watched Fox and the Hound. I just watched Fox and the Hound. Right.
That's a great movie.
It's
But
a
they
great
portray
movie.
the hunter. Have a look at how they
he's a
portray that
drunken idiot
dude.
shooting someone's door. Right. I was just explaining to my 11-year-old kid. This is literally happened.
My
2 days
daughter
before we
cried
left.
watching that because the fox got left out in the woods.
Yeah, the poor fox, Rainey, got kicked out because
Was it
he
Tom?
being a fox.
Yeah.
No, it's
What's his
But
name?
it's funny because that's the same way that they depict hunters in every single movie, even if it's like a adult movie or whatever it is. Like you remember Wolverine, one of the
Yeah.
Wolverine
Yeah.
movies, and they were like the biggest rednecks. And it's like
Yeah.
they literally take the worst picture and always post that.
Well, they
as
take the
picture.
bad apple. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't
And
matter
it's the-
what.
It's the same as the news, right? They always post the most negative shit because it's what's going to get attached into the brain.
Well,
and
that's
so
the
they do.
clickbait. That's,
Exactly. And well, it's the same things, right? It's the same thing that clickbait's in your head.
What did we
It's
discussed
the-
last night? 20 years ago, what was said on the news was gospel and truthful, and now it's just
You don't watch
shit.
it.
But at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. Shed hunting in a good light. You're doing a great job, Matty.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you
Appreciate
really
it.
are.
Definitely.
And don't watch fucking Bambi.
And it's bringing
Fuck Walt Disney.
it's bringing camps together though too.
Definitely.
You know, like you and I, we've met for the first time, we've spoken, but
Spoken
you know, the amount of people you've met, the amount of people we've all us as bow hunters, we've all communicated somewhat probably through your podcast because you've brought us all together. You know, we're all on the same page. We're talking about our experiences, our stories, because we all just want to tell them. We'll sit around a fire. We'll tell our hunting stories. That's what we're here for. That's what we love.
Definitely.
That's what keeps that memory going is our stories of what we have. And
it was also part of why I wanted to start the podcast because I knew no one who hunted, so I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. I'm talking my wife's the ear off. She's like,
I'm like, leave me alone.
that went down like a lead balloon on that.
Exactly. So starting a
But
podcast,
it's funny,
maybe
we're
I
all
could
different,
share
right?
experiences. Oh, definitely.
Different boots, different camo, different broadheads,
Yeah.
different bows, different whatever it is. But we're all doing the same thing. We're hunting.
Definitely.
That's
Randy,
all
do you
that
need to go at all? You're good. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's something that I did want to talk on is gear in general, and something that we've kind of discussed over the years is shoes, packs, finding the right things, camo in general, and I think camo, in a sense, you need to obviously equate for the area that you're in.
Comfortability is the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like making sure you're not going to collect. You know, making sure you're not going to collect all the burrs and spurs when you're out there.
Yep.
And then making sure that it's actually camo to some degree, right?
Yep.
And then you're layering, depending on where you are.
Weathers, yeah.
Right?
Well,
That's
situational, like, don't buy something made for hunting in the Victorian high country if you're going to go out to Burke and chase pigs in the middle of summer.
yeah, exactly.
And likewise, don't go to the Vic high country in a pair of shorts and a lightweight T-shirt in the depth of winter while it's snowing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, functionality.
I bought off of Facebook Marketplace my very first pair of hunting pants. And it was like, you know, those sports shirts, like the mesh type of, rocked up. I wore that in Queensland, and just the literal whole fronts of them were speargrass. Like from the bottom to the top was speargrass.
Yep.
My auntie goes, "Do you want me to try to pick that out?" I said, "Burn the fuckers. Like,
Yeah,
get rid of
exactly.
them." Yeah, I'm like,
We've
"There's
had
no
blokes
saving
come here
that."
in ghillie suits.
Yeah.
We've had fellas rock up in head to toe ghillie suits.
Yeah.
And we go, mate, it's not going to work. We've got thistles, we've got all these things. They're going to give you grief.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing-
real funny, just quickly on the ghillie suit. So I was like 15 or 16, and yeah.
Get your fucking hand off at 15 or 16. Just figured it out.
Anyway, ghillie
Ripping green.
suit up the hill. I wore this thing up the hill, right? I look like, I don't even know what I look like. I look like a mop, but a camo mop, but head to toe. This thing collected everything in its path. And by the time I got up the hill, I was that heavy and that way down by logs and sticks and thistles. I took it off and I walked back with my undies. And that was it. Like, that's no
ghillie
bullshit.
suit again.
And the ghillie suit would still be, it was on a property over near Orange.
It's still
Good
there.
luck, guys. If anyone ever finds a ghillie suit near Orange in the hills,
You'll know it was you.
I own it because it's still up there.
I own it, but I don't want it back.
Yeah, I don't want it back. You can have it. Burn it.
They have a place. They have a place because I've used them before. If you're like just sitting still, you're not active. They work, but there's heaps better options.
This
out
was
there.
like a cotton one, so it just literally, like, you know, the cotton, like literally, like your mop, like the strands, like cotton
that.
strands. Yeah, no, and it
They sell those at the army disposal
special shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're a stick bow, so you shop at the special shop anyway. But yeah, anyway.
And then, so I mean, you guys have got a range of different packs happening here in camp. What have kind of been the leading decisions to make those bigger purchases? Because a pack's not a cheap purchase in general. It's something that can come at, I don't know, up to $1,000 or more,
Yeah,
right? Easy.
You can spend a bit on them.
Yep.
But you only get one back.
Yep.
If you're serious about it and you want to pack out a full
Lots.
deer
Yep.
and you've got just a dodgy pack, you're going to know about it. You pack out a deer and for the next week, 2 weeks,
Sore
you're
hips.
going to hurt. You throw on like a Faru, Exo, Stone Glacier, one of those like frame type packs. Matty give a little bushbuck one or a whirl this trip, and
It's been great. The only thing I didn't like was I couldn't.
It's not
fit
big
a whole,
enough.
It's not big enough. I couldn't
But
fit
it's
a
a
whole
day
deer.
pack.
It's a
It's not a meat
day
pack.
Yeah, it's versions of their packs.
But for instance, I would expect for a day pack you could pull a deer out. I don't know what's concepts on that, but
maybe not.
I don't-
Maybe
yeah.
not a normal day pack.
But I honestly, I got 2 front legs of a fallow and the back straps only. That was it.
Yeah. If you want to cart deer, you need a
You need
frame.
a-
My
It's a
XO,
frame
it's
pack.
endless.
So what was the bushbuck pack we were carrying today? It was it had the section in between that you could obviously pack stuff into.
Yeah, Struan here, a bushbuck expert, just weighing in on the questions. I hope Tim never listens to this because I take a lot of photos, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention. But essentially, yeah, we were using the Roma pack today, which is probably the smallest pack, to be fair.
Yeah. It's actually a great little
It's
pack.
a day
It's a
pack.
great size pack, yeah.
I mean, for
Very
me
comfortable.
personally, hunting, I take a 60-litre pack that you can pack right down. But you shoot 2 deer, you shoot, you want to bone the whole lot out. So bushbuck do a bigger pack. They do it real. It's got a carbon frame, and they're getting it really good. They've been through a few iterations. It might be onto its 4th. So they're just constantly refining. So
Do you know
that's
price points or something like that? Like, because
I'll hand over to Toby, who's the details guy.
I think on special they go mid 3s, 400s. I think it's
On
good
the
value,
frame
but
packs.
they're
Yeah.
the frame pack. That is probably one of the best things they do, and
Yeah.
you can take the you can take the you can
Corey,
take
you
the bag off the frame.
yeah,
So you can get I've packed
can get
out
different bags then.
a hind and a yearling, red hind and a yearling before by myself, all boned out, and took everything, and it was bloody heavy. But the thing held up. They are awesome.
Yeah,
What's
definitely.
cool about them as well though is you can cinch them down from a 90 litre to a 50 litre, so you can work them as a day pack as well. Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing we're doing with the Kafaru,
Kafaru,
the Stone
just
Glacier,
different levels,
the
right?
XO.
I got a mate that he went on a 3-day hike and he just borrowed someone's pack, and it was just like a dodgy job from Kathmandu or something like that. Not even Kathmandu, it was a fucking Anaconda job. And he comes back and he's got welts all along his sides. He's got grazes up and down his back. He just got ripped to shreds by his backpack because he would clip it up and it would just rub. It would bounce around on him. It just didn't have the support that he needed. And he came back, there was like chafe welts essentially all over his body.
But an important thing too with those packs, you need one that's adjustable and that's adjustable to your frame size.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know with the Kafaru and the XO, and I think the Stone Glaciers, they do multiple belt sizes. So, like, obviously, if you're a little, stick figure fella, you obviously need a smaller belt. And if you're a more rotund fella,
Like me.
you need the larger, belt. Frame height is also
Depending on the
something
middle
that
one,
you
is it
should
enough?
consider if you're a really short person. Look at the frame height, because where it sits on your shoulders to where it straps around your waist can change it.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the pack set up right for you, you can
From the
put
start.
like a 20-kilo bag of concrete in it, and you don't even know it's there.
That's incredible.
And it doesn't load up on your shoulders too. That's an important thing. The pack is meant to, like, that hip waistband takes bulk of it,
Yep.
and the shoulder straps are literally just there as a support so it doesn't
Fall
topple
away.
off your shoulders. So when you do it all and set it up right, you should almost have like a 2-finger gap under your top.
Yeah, well.
So, yeah.
That's what I was saying to you today. Like,
Yeah.
how's that pack sitting on your back?
Yeah,
right?
you lift it up, you're like, it should be up here.
Yeah,
You're
like put it on your hips. Like
Yeah.
my pack, we didn't have a lot of weight on it, but my pack is sitting on my hips and my shoulders are bouncing around.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you walk out with,
A
say,
bit more freedom.
15 kilos of meat on your back, but you walk out like you don't notice that. You don't notice it. If you've got a good pack and you're sitting it on your back properly, you don't notice the weight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I've carried out some very interesting carry-outs and just, like, completely flog your body. Like, you wake up the next morning sore because you've just gone through hell to get it home.
Yeah.
Like, completely hinds just up on my back and shoulders and everywhere. It's a mess.
Yeah, and so we can forelegs, back straps, antler, cape. We did that this year in the rut with one of the deer Corey shot, and we hiked that out for 6 Ks, I'd say.
Not a drama.
No drama. Like, come back, you know that it's there on your back when you've got that much.
Oh, you're
it was
heavy.
wet as well, like it wasn't the nicest day in the world, but get back to the car, take the pack off, and you're still fresh as a daisy.
Exactly, ready to roll again.
Whereas I can remember doing it when I first started with like an anaconda job, like what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and a Vahan brought these, I don't even know what they were, $60 anaconda or Rebel specials.
Yep.
Went and did this half-ass backpack type hunt thing, and yeah, burnt the backpacks. They were shit. Ended up worse for wear.
Broke
Yeah,
back
definitely.
or backpack?
Backpack.
Both. Broken backs, broke back, and backpacks.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Dr. Zeus book.
And the green eggs and ham.
But the gear that you like, if you take the hunting seriously, it's an investment. You got to look at
Definitely.
it as a long-term investment. So you buy 3 average packs that cost you $250 a piece.
I'll buy one and last you a long, long time.
Buy once, cry once, and then you're not.
All my boots, eh?
Oh,
My boots
boots.
were back and forth. Me and Randy back and forth with boots,
Mm-hmm.
hunting in the hills, 7 years, 8 years, and he was up my ass for the first 3 years about my
You're
boots.
a volley mate, weren't you?
I was volleys, yeah, like we're doing to you right now in this
Exactly.
trip.
Every year I come out.
Yeah, where are your boots?
Got to get rid of them.
But the
You keep wearing volleys, and you'll soon become a stick bow shooter too.
Amen.
Amen. The gear that you buy, right, helps your hunt or helps your body to be able to handle the hunt. Or having boots that are like my new boots, the Solomons, but I had the Solomons, but
You had the mid.
the
You
lighter,
had like
the lighter version.
the 7-inch.
Didn't you get blisters though?
Brand new boots, but see, because I'm a
okay.
dumb fuck, I buy boots. Got them for Father's Day, actually.
He said it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't
Been
get
told
blisters.
today.
I'm wearing volleys.
But brand new
No,
boots,
yeah.
out of the box. Pull the paper out of the middle of them, and go walk 15 k's. You're gonna get blisters.
But it's funny because Struan, you were talking about you wore your steel caps and you lost nails, right? How far was that trek you did, and how many nails did you lose?
Yeah, the trek was about 18 k's round trip, and I lost 3 nails.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, what was I to expect? You know, like
Yeah.
I was young, and it was like my first hunting trip. I was like, oh yeah,
These will do.
they got leather on the outside, like the other hunting boots I see in the magazines. It's all good, you know. But no.
So would you recommend steel cap boots to anyone planning on going on a big hunt?
Yeah, I mean, it's character building, you know. In fact, like 15 years later, it's still spinning the yarn. So get out there, guys. Yeah.
Makes for a great story.
Well, you never learn from success as good as you do from fuck ups.
Oh yeah.
Even wearing skins, eh? Like me wearing, I bought a pair of Under Armour tights because the first hunt I went on with Grant, I chafed like a motherfucker. Ended up wearing tea towels around my thighs, stopping me ball bag bleeding.
Tea towels and duct tape.
Yeah, blisters and chafing like a bastard.
Bad thing.
Yeah,
Especially when it's hot, it gets worse and worse real quick.
yeah. But yeah, you buy the right pair of undies.
But so with boots, then, like I think a bag's probably a little bit easier to get the right thing for you to some extent. But boots, that's a very personalised process in the sense of how your foot actually sits. Like
Yeah.
I have very flat feet in general.
Me too, but
You do?
yeah. So I buy a pair of boots and I rip their inner soles out.
Yeah.
So-
okay. But they've
so-
still got support, right?
But you're just going on their treads. So
Yeah.
so if you take all of my hunting boots, right? I've got 3 pairs of boots over there. None of them have inner soles in them. They're all just tread and flat bottoms because I've got fat, wide, flat feet.
And you park caveman.
Yeah, and I don't wear shoes. I'm either in thongs, right?
Yeah.
Crocs,
Yeah.
barefoot, or work boots. And then when I'm hunting, I'm wearing. I don't wear 3 pairs at once, Benny. Fucking dickhead, isn't he?
But like it took. It's like
There's always one cunt in the camp. Edit that out, Manny.
I was only wondering after you explaining the third leg and the cull-head how the boot fits.
Well, the third leg, that's a special thing. That's obviously
That boot's too big.
that boot's way too big.
but like you've gone through 3 different pairs of boots.
Yeah.
Are you happy with them yet, or you keep?
Well, I
looking?
wore the fuck out of all of the pairs of boots I've had, even if I didn't like them, because I'm a tight ass, right? So if you spend $200 on a pair of boots, you grin and bear. Well, in my case, grin and bear it, because I can't afford to buy a pair of boots. I don't like them. I got to get a new pair.
Yeah.
So I wore the fuck out of all of them until I'm ready for a new pair. I can afford to buy a new pair.
Mm-hmm.
So my first pair of boots, I bought lower boots. They were $340, and great boots, right? But a little bit light, and I've got shit ankles.
Yeah.
So the boot that I bought light because I don't like wearing shoes. So I wanted something light on my foot, but realised the hunting I do in the hills, I need that ankle support. Second pair of boots I'm going to go a little bit heavier, but there's still the lower range in the boots. But the heavier material, thinking it's going to help me. But nah, the third pair of boot I've bought, I've gone the higher boot, lighter boot, but higher, so the lace up like past my ankle. So
Yeah.
my shit ankles are supported. I've got a lighter boot now, and I'm happy with the boot. So
Just got to wear them in.
cost 3 pairs of boots, 7 years of hunting, right? So it's a good haul for my pairs of boots,
Yeah.
minus the years of volley hunting.
Yes.
Yeah, but I reckon, so if you don't have a lot of money, you still buy the right thing.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you have to deal with the fuck up. Then when you buy your next pair, upgrade again, fix what you fucked up, and if it's...
And like you said, you're fixing what you didn't like about the last pair.
That's right.
Yeah.
And every version got better, right?
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
going to say, next version, who knows what happens, but it's going to be in a year from now.
Yeah.
So...
But the boots are also a real personal
It is, it
preference
really is.
because my feet,
You know,
Solomon's work for my feet. I had lowers, they worked, they were great, but they didn't last. They were just a little bit light on, and they
tread
just
wore
weren't-
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've got another pair of lowers, the Rangers, I think they are, which are a heavier boot, but they're more stiff, and they don't suit the style of hunting, like the active style that I do. Like they're too stiff. There's too much support.
Yeah.
But I don't have weak ankles. I got dirty, great, big, fat cankles. So
Yeah, Grant's ankles are the same size as his thighs.
yeah, I'm built rotund from the waist down.
And I mean, really, here in Australia, it seems like there's two brands that get pushed quite a lot, which is Crispy and Lower, right? It seems to be like, and I think it's just that they're
Well,
niching
they
out
are
on
a
the hunting
premium.
side. The Crispies, or
Both
Both.
of those are
Yeah.
a premium.
I've never heard of a crispy bow before.
what?
Boots.
Boots.
Yeah, boots. That's what I mean.
I was like, where'd you
I've
go?
had 6 beers.
Yeah, where were you at?
They're
I've never heard
both-
of crispy boots.
It's-
Never.
Yeah, it's
They're
another.
premium. They're like they're high end. I don't know, made by the elves in Sweden or something like that. Whatever it is to sell them. But there's other boots that like, whatever works well in the marketing campaign. But
Don't know what you're talking about.
I've got $700 boots and I've got $300 boots, and I'd prefer the $300 boots.
Yeah, personal preference once again.
But then for a different style of hunt, like if you were to go to New Zealand, you need a heavier, stiffer, rigid boot for the style of hunting that you do there. So everything has its... Like if you took volleys to New Zealand, you
I
would
wouldn't do it.
probably die.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't do it. And I
You
think
would
that's
probably die.
situational, right? Like coming down here last year, I took a bit of a gamble, thinking that we had kind of talked about what the country is like, and unless it's really gorge country or New Zealand country, I think I can get away with it.
You need boots, mate.
They work a treat.
You got good feet, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And I like them just because they're so sneaky.
You are a lot quieter.
Yeah.
I'm excited when you roll your ankles. I'm just going to say.
Mate,
Told
hasn't
you so.
happened yet.
Suck eggs, mate. Some boots.
When it happens, you can say I told you so.
But other items, you can sort of you go off reviews and things as such.
Definitely.
You know,
It's funny. The buy ones, cry ones is actually such a big thing in hunting. In particular, I did the stupid thing and went and bought a whole heap of cheap stuff. This is before I talked to anyone about hunting at all. Just bought some cheap stuff just so I could go out and go for my first hunt. And I was so excited, and then pretty much all that stuff got thrown away, and I had to start again.
We all did that.
Yeah.
Even if someone told me, right, because I'm a stubborn fuck. Someone told me not to buy that thing I'm going to buy. I still bought it.
Yep.
Yeah, I still bought it.
Yeah.
And then use it twice and he'll go, huh, told you
you
not
so.
to use that. Yeah.
And he'll go.
Yeah.
Because someone told you, not
Yeah.
not Grant Rand.
Curly-headed fuck sitting next to me.
but in that too, sometimes a second-hand
Oh, definitely. There's a
item
big
is
market
going to be
for it.
better than buying a shit brand
And
new
so
item.
accessible with Facebook Marketplace now,
Yeah,
right?
like shop around and stuff like that. Not just bows, not just packs. Like maybe boots. Probably stick to new ones because,
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm bad for it. I'll buy a pair of boots, wear them once, and then go, nah, they're not exactly what I wanted, and sell them.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good deal if you can find that.
Or if you're in a position for that, there's also people that go, yeah, I only wore them once. You have a look and half the tread's missing. It looks like they've done Kokoda Trail 16 times.
That's when I sold my boots after 5 years. I only wore them once.
Yeah, only used once, like
One ultra marathon.
Yeah, never been off road.
And grill
Never
the
been on
bloke
the
that
beach.
asked you the question, like, are you sure these are only worn once?
Yeah, I'm going to Matty here. Try my boots, Matty. Try them. You like boots. You like boots, but they got less tread than his volleys.
Yeah.
You're actually not trying to sell me boots at all.
No.
But if you've got someone that's got a pair of boots and you can try them on and you're not scared of tinea or something like that, it's not a bad option if you can do it. Maybe don't, just go doing it with randoms. Protection, guys.
You guys are muppets. On that, it's we've been 2 hours already. I'm gonna call it because we've had a big few nights, and we're gonna do another one tomorrow anyway.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else you want to touch on before we? Not you, Benny, because you'll talk too long.
Shed hunting in a good light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah. Hunt hard. Get in the hills.
I'm glad you just took that note.
I said it before you said it, mate. No one was listening to you anyway.
Just enjoy
Edit that
yourself.
out, Matty.
Enjoy yourself and enjoy the hunt and enjoy what it has to offer.
Yeah, I think.
So you did listen.
You
See,
should love
fast learner.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too many people expect too much of it, right? You're expecting it to give you something, but it doesn't owe you anything. Hunting's not a thing that owes you. You're just going out to experience it.
You're not privileged.
Yeah, exactly.
Hunting literally owes you nothing. It will take.
It'll humble you.
It will take everything and humble you and sit you back at square one.
Yeah, that's why we love it.
Yeah.
It's the most enjoyable
Share the love
thing.
around. Teach people how to hunt.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Best thing you do with your pants on.
That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, team. If you did have any topics, questions, or you wanted to suggest a guest for Becoming a Bow Hunter, you can send me an email at matty@becomingabowhunter.com. If you are enjoying the show or you've enjoyed in particular episodes, please do me a solid and share it around with your friends. If you are not already, please hit the subscribe button, as the more subscribers we get, the higher the podcast gets ranked, and that definitely helps out for showing it to other individuals. If you are not already following me on Instagram, it's at becomingabowhunter.podcast, and on YouTube, it's Becoming a Bowhunter. Get out, team, fling some arrows, get that practice in, and walk those yards in the paddocks until you find those critters. That is it for now, but not the last time that you'll hear from Becoming a Bowhunter.